Thanks for everybody for coming.
Oh, I need them, sorry. I keep thinking I could see without it, it doesn't work. We have the manifest that's going around. I think everybody's signed it at this point. We have the minutes to, excuse me. We have the minutes for the public and non-public minutes of December 11th. I just want a motion to accept those.
Make that motion.
Second.
Second.
I do have one point just to change. I'll wait for Maria. She does the changing. So on the December 11th meeting notes, under social media protocol, it says that they should just notify me, but I thought we had discussed about notifying Dr. Ryan and me if stuff came up on Facebook.
Right, good point,
Right?
good point.
So I just wanted to change that to reflect that. Are you good with that? I can get it to you afterwards too, Maria.
Yep, I'm good.
Okay. So with that change, or is there any other discussions about the meeting notes? No. All those in favor of, do we need to revise the motion since it'll be to as edited?
As amended.
As amended?
Yep. Would be just fine.
Okay.
Yep.
Do we need them to first and second it with that?
All you
it's
need,
changed.
all you'll need is a motion to approve minutes as
As
amended.
amended,
Yeah,
okay.
and a second and a vote.
Yeah, so we do.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Citizens' comments. Does anybody have anything at this moment? I know it's early in the meeting. We'll have another one towards the end. And I don't think there's anybody online. Nope. No. All right, so our first presentation looks like it's from the student agency.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I'm not going to speak a lot because this is their presentation. I just want to introduce our three high school students that will be talking about their role in the student agency project and what exactly the student agency project is. And at the very end, you'll get to hear a little bit about what they're planning to do to move forward. You do have some information in front of you in a packet that has this on the front of it, I believe, that might help you just understand a little bit more about what people are asking, what is student agency? But they are going to tell you all about it. So I'm going to hand it over to them.
Hi, I'm I'm in ninth grade. I'm giving over in ninth grade. And I bet a lot of you are sitting here questioning, what exactly is student agency? So student agency is a program that we are using here in Hinsdale schools, along with other schools in New Hampshire as well, are using this method to give students more voice in their opinions on how their school is necessarily run. We came up with a definition here. It's that we believe student agency makes you have the courage and the selflessness to conduct a better a better class environment. And I'm gonna pass it to Zach to explain to you guys what we did in our first meeting.
So our first trip, we went to Concord, along with 8 other schools showing up at a center. We conversed with other schools to see what they would actually change about them. We noticed those were similar with what they wanted to change along with us. We did a few activities there. And that's considered
The big activities were that we did.
Nice.
So we did a couple different activities. We did want to practice something called empathy interviews. Empathy interviews is a way to get information about other people, to get like what their thinking process is with certain subjects. One of the activities we did, Tammy's gonna explain a little later. It gives us input on another student like wanting of something. There's a difference between empathy interviews and regular interviews. The regular interviews, you're asking questions and you're giving in a little bit of input. The empathy interviews, you ask the questions and then you just let them tell you your answer and you don't give in much input because then you don't want to persuade them to a different direction. Everything else.
One of our activities we did was back interview. That's where we took empathy interview. We asked the other person about what they wanted and what their dream backpack is. When we asked questions, we made sure not to ask about ourselves and that we only asked questions about them and what they wanted. Once we made their backpack, we showed them that, and then they made ours. After that, we connected and made sure and saw like what we did with each other and how much we understood each other. That was the backpack activity. Then we made, this is the three big ideas that we talked about that we want to move forward with. We had the opportunity to work with each other. We made 2 topics. Then we decided that we wanted to decide between lunchtime, scheduling, and authentic learning and engaging in the classroom. Through our discussion, we noticed attendance was decreasing because we think the kids' learning styles aren't being met. We are trying to make a way to change and make the school more authentic and engaging in the classrooms. We have decided to take on the next steps on authentic learning in the classroom to meet the best individuals in the class. Now on to the
Sure. So thank you, guys. That was
Thank
great.
you. Awesome.
So this is the process they went through. As they said, they saw a lot of similarities. One of the similarities they didn't speak of, but they really noticed was that we were the smallest school there. But we were told that we had the best idea. So we're very happy about that. We're proud of that idea. But we didn't go with the lunch one because that's far too easy. Other schools did. This past week, they spent 3 hours with an outside consultant that came to help them take the next steps and how do we move forward with doing work in the classrooms with teachers, with administration, with school board, with all the stakeholders. And we did some work on called Agile Scrum, which gives you a process of how to make sure that you have this big idea and you can take it to the end. So it's a 2-year process for them. Our next big work we'll be meeting every month to talk about what are our next steps. How do we make sure that we're bringing teachers and every single voice in? They have decided to use the empathy interviews that go into every classroom, every advisory, and interview all the students. So every voice is heard. This is not just their voice. And then gather that data and bring it back towards the end of the school year. It's going to take a while to interview every student through an interview process. And then start to talk to teachers, which Sarah's already done, developed ways that we can start talking to teachers. A lot of this is still in the works. In May, we're asking the board for approval. Our big event is in May. Dr. Ryan, can you remind me of the place that
You're going to Alnoba.
Alnoba in
Yes.
Kensington, New Hampshire. I knew I was going to Kensington. I just couldn't think of the place. We'd like permission to do an overnight at Alnoba. So the kids can do work on the night before. The grant would fund this opportunity for the students, for some of our kids who have never even are excited because it's right near the ocean and it's in May. So come on, it's pretty exciting, right? We are asking the board for permission to take this group, and their next job is to everybody has to bring a new person to the next meeting. So that we'll have double the size. So we'll have double the voice and double the input, and a little less work with all the empathy interviews. So we'll be bringing about 14 kids to Alnoba, which is a beautiful place. I looked it up. It's gorgeous.
Yes,
in May for an overnight trip with 2 chaperones. So that's what they're talking about. Like I said, they were a little nervous. They didn't want to even give up the idea yet because they wanted to make sure they have all the details in place, but it's far too early to have all the details in place yet. This is a whole 2-year process. So, but we'll be meeting with all the other schools in May and sharing how far we've come. So.
Great. So did you want us to vote on that tonight?
We would like, because we'd like to make the plans at Alnoba, actually, is what they offered to us today.
Yeah. Good.
So we'd like to make the.
I'll make a motion to approve their trip, their overnight trip
I'll
to
second.
Kensington.
Any more discussion?
The grant, does that cover their meals and everything?
It will
Okay.
cover,
I just want to make sure they
yep.
don't have to do any out of pocket.
no, the meals will be covered on day 2 of the trip by the project. Day 1, the grant will cover the bus, the rooms, and the meals.
So everything's covered. They
They
don't
don't
have to,
bring
no
anything.
out of pocket from the
No out of
parents.
pocket.
Okay,
No.
beautiful. Yep.
More discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? So moved.
Great.
I'm excited to see what comes out.
Yes, so are we.
Yeah,
A lot of fun.
Thank you.
thank you for that, guys. That's great. All right, and then we have the presentation for the science of reading.
Well, do we have anyone online, Maria?
We have one person online.
Do we want to mic up Ms. Bassett
I can sit.
perhaps? Do you want
Yeah,
to,
that's
yeah,
okay.
only because I'm pretty certain they would be able to hear. If you're comfortable.
Is everybody turning it on while we're doing
Hey,
it?
we beat everybody.
I know, ours are up.
That's why it gets a little star.
Don't bring that up
It's always waiting.
too soon.
He doesn't have a gold star.
Yeah, no gold star.
Jane gave it to me a couple weeks ago.
You should probably have that in front of you. This is the first meeting since then.
Thank you, Jane. Excuse me, sir. Could you give me my gold star?
There we go.
Thank you, sir. I'll put it between. both.
Rub it
Okay.
in. There we go.
Face it outwards. There you go.
Sorry.
Your hair's thinning, or is it falling?
My hair is thinning.
Okay, well, you can.
You've got a lot.
Oh, 2 years.
Yeah, it's about.
They knew they were getting.
Going into the presentation mode. Is it 4 times on a practice? I'm sorry. Give me a minute because
wrong?
I-
That's fine.
Super Justin to the rescue.
We got
Da-da-da-da.
we got a guy.
No.
No,
you
We got a guy.
Next month you can have it.
Only if you get it right.
Kayla's been
He
working
will,
for this,
though.
or Kendra rather, has been working on this one.
Yes. I forget what I did, but you said I got it.
Yeah. Well, I almost was
Because I
gonna,
have so many good things
yeah, I know
happen
that. she's good.
that I just can't keep track of what one she said.
Wayne almost was gonna get one on Saturday, but Kendra told me I couldn't.
Throw me under the bus like that.
Chucked you under the bus.
She really did.
You can leave it at that.
'Cause I really did say that.
None of us didn't believe her.
No, it's true. We didn't even need the confirmation.
Google Slides. There we go.
Hand it over.
Get out of here, Justin.
Good job, Justin.
You did a great job, though.
Thank you,
And we
Justin.
all believed in you.
This is actually why we have you here.
That's it, okay.
That's not it.
It's just.
Yeah.
So you can go right to the second slide.
So my name is Anna Bassett. I'm the MTSS reading coordinator at the elementary school. Some of my roles and responsibilities as the coordinator is helping to support tiered interventions, implementing MTSSR, coaching and professional development, assessment and data analysis, establishing a progress monitoring system, data management and reporting, collaboration and coordination with all staff at the building, and continuous improvement of MTSSR for the building. Some of my experiences, I've been a classroom teacher for kindergarten, 3rd, 5th, and 6th. I've been a reading specialist, a literacy coach, and now I am your MTSS reading coordinator. So through this presentation, I'm hoping at the end, you'll be able to answer what the science of reading is, what MTSS is, why science of reading, how science of reading supports the requirements of the New Hampshire minimum standards, and how we are shifting to the science of reading at school. So science of reading is a vast interdisciplinary body of scientific-based research. Now, this is nothing new. This is a culmination of decades of research and looking at what that research tells us and using those best practices to help teach our students. So again, it's nothing new. It's looking at all of our practices and what does the data tell us, what does the research tell us, and using the evidence to support using the best practices. And that may mean some of our practices don't have the supporting research and we need to kind of exhaust that out of our practice. We're really focusing in on those practices that reap the best benefits for our students' education. So MTSS is a system of support. It's a framework to identify and support students' individual needs. And like I had mentioned, science of reading is the research base of how to effectively teach reading. So if you think about MTSS and science of reading, MTSS is our structure. It's how we can organize a structure to deliver the science of reading practices to our students. So why science of reading? I think that this chart right here really speaks to why we need to really implement as much as we can of science of reading for our students. Over the years, you can see the proficiency rate for Hinsdale Elementary. Last year was 33%, and this study is looking for 53%. So when we have support, which includes funding, training, and coaching, and the district sets clear expectations, research has shown that the benefits, I mean, it shows to significantly enhance students' reading skills and test scores. And I have a quote up there from an article, and this presentation will be shared with all the board members, and there is a link in the notes section if you want to read about the article about some of these schools. So in 2019, Alabama ranked 49th on NAEP reading scores for low-income 4th graders. In 2022, it ranked 27th. And also Louisiana soared from 42nd to 11th. Mississippi, which was one of the lowest, now is the 2nd highest in the country after Florida. So those schools really show that with that funding, with the training, with the coaching, and the district setting those clear expectations, that they really created a system for the students to succeed in reading. And I would like to see that for our students as well. So in 2024, the bill for meeting minimum standards in New Hampshire schools was adopted, and by July 1st, 2027, all schools need to have these standards in place. And on the chart on the presentation, you can see on the left side the minimum standards that need to be in place in schools. And through my observations, my formative observations going into classrooms, I have kind of put up there kind of where we are in our implementation stages. So phonemic awareness, we're partially meeting. Decoding, developing, encoding, which is the ability to spell, beginning, fluency beginning, vocabulary, comprehension, and writing, we're in the developing stages. So in the following slides, you'll see some of that evidence of some of the great work that teachers are doing. And it is supported by research. So phonemic awareness is the ability to recognize and manipulate sounds in spoken language. So that's to hear the sounds, identify, move, isolate, blend, segment, add, and substitute sounds. So in these examples up here, we have some teachers who are teaching phonemic awareness, and they're really incorporating multisensory instructions. The students are hearing it auditorily, and they're doing some hand movements to really reinforce those practices for them. And you can see that research is on there in the slides. If you want to click on the link so you can read the research about those. So phonics instruction teaches students to decode, which is to read, and to encode, which is spelling. So in these examples here, we have some intervention groups happening. You can see some first graders are tapping out sounds. So the teacher might say flat, and they'll go flat. So this movement is really helping them, solidify breaking those sounds apart. And then also we have a Title I teacher who is using some guided discovery of phonics patterns with OI, OY, and OO. And you can see how one of the students is up really participating in this lesson with the teacher. Fluency is reading with a combination of proper speed, accuracy, and expression. My view, the curriculum that we use at the school has a great resource called Cold Reads that can be pulled in, where the students get to reread a passage. And the part I love that it really reinforces our end goal of reading, which is to comprehend. So there's comprehension questions that align with the week's comprehension focus. Vocabulary is the knowledge of words, including their structure, meaning, and links to other words. My example up there may look simple, but I couldn't bring that moment into this whole boardroom. It was absolutely wonderful and beautiful to see. A classroom teacher was working with this group. They read all about these words in the text that they had through the curriculum. Then they took the vocabulary words and they looked up definitions, and they talked a lot about, is it a verb, a noun, an adjective, and they also used it in a sentence. The piece that was really great at the end was that the teacher had the students have discussions using these words. So being able to use those vocabulary words in different contexts is so important, and this teacher did a wonderful job doing that. Comprehension is understanding and making meaning from spoken and written language. So that means our listening comprehension, being able to hear things and understand it, and then also read something and understand it. And to be able to comprehend a text, there's multiple processes that you need to be able to incorporate at the same time. One of the examples up there, there's looks like little pink pieces of paper on the desks, but that's from the MyView curriculum, and it's talking all about the different types of fictional text. And the classroom was having this lively discussion where the teacher just facilitated the discussions. She didn't sit there and run the discussion for them. She just sat back and kind of made quick little prompts, little questions here or there, and the students had this great conversation around what type of fiction was it, and they were given the time to be able to pose their views and then get to the end result of what type of fiction it was. The other example is MyView has, like I said, a weekly text, and it's read 3 times. And each time they read it, they dive deeper into it. They really pull back the layers to really understand the text at a deeper level. And then writing is the ability to communicate ideas in written form. And one thing with the minimum New Hampshire standards is that handwriting practice should be in place. And you can see that there's an example up there of a kindergarten teacher that really brought in this great scaffolded support where she released the responsibility of writing the letter X with her students. So she had a visual up there with this rhymey saying that played, and then after it played, she was up with a projector showing the students exactly how to write it. And then the students were able to go back and do that all on their own independently. And then the other example is first grader writing independently about their goal for the year. And you can see a nice editing checklist on the right side that the student can use independently to think about, do I have all these components in place in my writing? So what shifts are we making? So Jeannie, her 2 years that she's been at this district, she has worked tirelessly with the staff to go through different programs, and they decided on implementing MyView. I've established a data collection and management system using Dibbles and the web-based platform Amplify. All students are benchmarked now 3 times a year, which does meet the New Hampshire state laws requirement for the dyslexia screener. Progress monitoring occurs for students in intervention groups bi-weekly. And thanks to Molly, she set up PLCs with every grade level. So all this data is able to be analyzed with classroom teachers in those PLCs. And then as well, in monthly Title I meetings, we analyze the progress monitoring data. And you know that the point of looking at that data is really to be student-centered and data-driven. So we can really use that data to shift our practices to really align with our students with where they are and where they change, where they go to. I really hope to see some increase in skills in being able to analyze that data. You know, I think analyzing data can be challenging. It's really easy to look at it quick and see what's on the surface, but really analyzing it closely to see what we could be missing so that we can target all of those individual needs. All teachers are have the option for instructional coaching, classroom teachers and Title I. And also professional development has been provided and will be continued to be provided. So far, we've done some PD on science of reading, benchmarking, progress monitor and screening, and MTSS instructional strategies. So I really want to thank Dr. Ryan for having me here, Ms. Anderson, Ms. Townlow, Mr. Dingham, Ms. Gardner, Mr. Sprague, and Ms. Howe for prioritizing science of reading for the district and supporting us with the staff, the coaching, and the funding. But most importantly, making the science of reading a priority for all the students here at Hinsdale. So thank you so much.
Super well done, yeah.
That's great. Anybody have any questions? See our reading improve for sure with this. We obviously need that. So thanks, thank you for all your
Thank
work.
you.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah,
Madam Chair?
absolutely.
So we know what the expectation is, right? So we know what our stated expectation is. What is your feeling on progress towards that expectation and improvement?
You know, I've seen some shifts with some teachers. I think, you know, any type of change is challenging for some people.
Always.
So I think with time and with Molly's support and, you know, Jeannie's support with the curriculum, I foresee that, you know, there'll be big shifts with the staff. It will take time. It's a big school. There's a lot of students. But from what I've seen, I mean, just those pictures in itself from the day one to now to see some of the engaging practices that are based on the science of reading that are occurring is really nice to see.
So we're all in on science of reading, and so we're going to make sure we state that publicly. So what is it that we can do to support the work that's being done at the elementary school in making sure that that message is being received and you're able to do the job that you need to do?
I think just like what you're saying is making sure that those clear expectations of teachers that science of reading practices are really going to benefit the students and helping them have some of that time to be able to develop that craft. It's not necessarily, like I said, throwing everything out and changing everything. It's just stepping back and thinking, does this align with the science of reading? If it does, great, we can keep going with it. And there might have to be some shifts and changes, but I feel like most of the staff are really on board with wanting to do that for the students.
We also did an admin training around like what to look for when you're walking through the building that is like very specific to science of reading. So like both principals, we all put, Anna, myself, we all participated in the administrator training for, they call them learning walks. So it's a way of collecting like formative data on what's happening in the building. And be able to identify the kind of general trends. So it's not like a gotcha and a, like particular to any one teacher, but it's like, what are we seeing generally as trends and how can that help us think about where to focus our energy on professional development, where, do we have concerns around implementation and, accountability, those things. It gives us an opportunity to collect data formatively and have those conversations among us about how we might address that question.
Great, thank you.
So I think visibility in the building for us and knowing what to look for is also a part of it.
So,
Go ahead, Gail.
okay, sorry.
She raised her hand.
I did too, and he looked at me.
I did because I saw the hand go up. Chair is in
I didn't
charge.
see that. hand. There was no hand.
So I just want to make sure, because science of reading, the pendulum always swings with education, that we're still in, seeing Florida data up there. I know the teachers in Florida, it's a much different world, especially with reading. Are we still allowing kids to read books that are fun and not just informational. And, you know, around holidays, we do fun reads and poetry, and so are they still getting all of that?
So I just want to go back to the pendulum piece, because the science of reading, it's not about a pendulum, because if you think about it, right, with the pendulum, all this new research comes out, so we go this way. Then more research comes out and we go this way. Science of reading is taking all that research that has made us keep shifting back and forth and trying to keep us focused and balanced on those practices that are supported by all those decades of research. And I think to what you're saying about, can we allow all these fun things and adding, you know, doing some of those engaging books and all that, I think it just still goes back to looking at what the science says about it and how is it connecting to what they're learning. So if the students are learning all about vowel teams, great, it's going to be Thanksgiving. Let's find a poem that goes along with those vowel teams and let's read with that. So just trying to connect what they're learning with those resources that they're bringing in and making sure it is backed by the science.
Can I add something? So I think that the piece that we need to understand with Anna's particular role is the core tiers of our reading instruction, whereas we may do other things that build classroom community. That it's, you know, it's a craft, and we're adding more things. Like, we still are doing those fun things because we value classroom community and social emotional learning, those kind of things. What she's talking about is core reading instruction. So if for the purposes of that activity, we are teaching a child to read, we are doing it in this way. But morning meeting, snack time, a quick read aloud after lunch, all those things are all the fun, good elementary things that always have been. But when we have intervention, like our title intervention or special ed intervention, or our tier 1 and tier 2 classroom instruction, teaching reading to children, we need to do it this way. And so those things are happening at different times. Their literacy and interventions during literacy or connected to literacy as a second dose, so to speak, for our intervention are this. So I just wanted to, I heard what you were asking, I was like, yes, and yes. So.
Andrew?
I was just wondering, are we gonna try to get some of this information out to the parents? Because I think it's a great way. I think you did a good job on the presentation piece of it. And I think it might help our parents to better understand the process of what's going on in the classroom. So maybe like if we put it on the website or attach it in your week, in your newsletter.
Yeah, I mean, I can link this in the newsletter.
Yeah.
That's easy. And I could let it live there. I have a few links to things like you were talking about Haggerty and things like that at the bottom that just linked there as links, but I could let this live there for a bit.
I'd recommend breaking out those acronyms as well, so NAEP, MTSS and such, just ensure they have a glossary for folks.
Anybody else?
Can I ask? Oh, sorry.
Okay, so I'm looking at the numbers here and it says 33% is Hinsdale. The requirement is 53%. Is that correct? Am I reading it? So how do we measure that? I mean, do we set a goal to be at 40% at a certain time? What happens if we don't meet the state average for this? What happens?
We get a red mark. No.
Okay.
The state identifies, like there's a low, the bottom percentage essentially of schools that get identified and then receive additional support. So thankfully we're not there right now. We haven't met that low threshold, but according to Science of Reading, we could have 90% of our kids reading proficiently if we're fully implementing with fidelity Science of Reading based instructional practices. So that's not necessarily the goal, but that is what the research shows. So the research says you can have except the kids who are most developed, you know, like having special needs or academic needs could be reading proficiently. So the vast majority of kids in theory could meet that threshold. We don't have a specific goal that we've set, but I would like us to beat the odds and be at least at the state average.
What's the assessment that we're going to use to measure and demonstrate growth? We're using,
What's on
we're going to
your
use the SAS, straight SAS, or are
So
there other
SAS
assessments?
measures proficiency against like a set criteria. So like
Correct.
we have a benchmark of what it means to be proficient readers, and I really like to be able to use that benchmark. We also use NEWA, which is criteria, which is not criterion reference, but it's like puts you in a percentile, so it's norm reference. How are you doing in relation to other districts and other kids? I find that like that's a moving target, and it's a little bit less clear to us about who's proficient and who's not proficient. So it's helpful to see growth in the percentiles, but in terms of like proficiency levels, I like to know how many of our kids can read and how many can't.
And that's
We're
fourth
using
grade?
Dibble.
What was that?
Is SAS fourth grade?
So New Hampshire SAS starts testing at third grade. So we don't necessarily have that data for K1 and 2, which is also essential. So we have other measures that we can use that are more granular at those levels.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the Dibbles amplify that platform, Dibbles, the assessments that we use, that really looks at those isolated skills, so we can really target those, and stats really looks at that end result, right? How well be able to read and comprehend.
And you may remember from I think it was during my data presentation meeting, I talked about that I advocated for us to get Amplify because everybody was hand scoring Dibbles, and it was the ability to analyze it on hand scored things was just not, it was informative and we could make some decisions. Amplify, the time of our teachers is a cost. And so thinking about the cost of Amplify versus the cost to our teachers and then the benefit we get from that program, because it's scored immediately, it's live. And so that was something I advocated for this summer, and then Julie agreed. So that's a piece that we update. We've done Dibbles before, but.
Anybody else? I could also just say that Anna and I are both participating. The state has invested heavily in offering letters training, which is a way of building capacity among teachers and administrators in science of reading-based practices and structures. And
Donna's been doing it, yeah.
Are you still doing it, or are you done?
I finished.
You finished, and who else?
I don't know how if she completed it.
So
She did
they
really well.
offered it for teachers. It's 2 years. It's really intensive training in science of reading. So Anna and I are taking the letters for administrators. Donna took the letters for teachers, which is really nice. So I'd love to see us do more around in professional learning.
And the state covers the cost.
The state, yeah, the state's been covering all the costs.
Like everything.
So
Start for them.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, Dominic gets it.
you might have.
You can keep it.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm glad that Donna, hopefully some other teachers took it.
I was the only one that I know of.
Okay, you're the only one.
And I know
Took
the last
advantage.
cohort of the state is in round and because it was free to us,
Right.
but they're not offering that after this cohort that I think just
Oh.
started.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they'll access it from there at that point, but it's phenomenal.
Yeah, it really is.
We had the MTSSR group work with the state this summer, which Donna was on too, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
We met in here.
Yeah, it was.
And then we have Anna on board.
Yeah.
So we have access to PD all the time.
Perfect. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Any other questions we did? All right. Thank you very much. It was very informative. Student board member, Mrs. Howe. She's here today? No?
No,
I know she's really busy.
I didn't see her today.
Maybe she's sick. Okay.
No, everybody's not there.
There's a lot of.
Oh, beautiful. Bless her.
All right, so that brings us to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It was really brief this time, considering it was about 2 weeks between our last meeting and then we had 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks of school break, but we had some
Right.
things take place. And so I wanted to provide for you an update on the high school selection committee process in Winchester that is in your report. And we had a successful community forum on Saturday morning. To me, it looked like we had 40 people there. Is that about what we would,
So, yeah, it was a good crowd.
10 tables, right? At least, so.
Yeah,
A large, a good group of folks from here were there, but certainly a lot of folks from town, which was really great to see. That were not parents, but are certainly interested taxpayers.
Yeah.
And I think it was a really interesting conversation. I also understand there was some pretty positive chatter regarding the information on Facebook, the town Facebook social media circles. So it's a good thing it's a good thing to do, is make sure we're sharing that information. On Monday night, the Winchester High School Selection Committee unanimously moved Hinsdale forward to be on the warrant in March. And they're coming back on this upcoming Monday to the board to recommend one of the other two schools. They needed an additional week because one school board still hadn't hadn't decided yet on whether or not they could be an anchor school. So we'll know essentially who the competition is by the closing of that meeting on Monday night. So Anna, let's start practice.
I'm ready.
All right. And so it's the presentation that we provided on Saturday is on our website under superintendent updates. And so it's a click, it's all right there. Any questions, people can just contact us. Or you can also go to the Winchester. I did it by myself too, Maria. I know you're upset by the fact that I put it on the website by myself. I'm sorry.
You are wild and crazy.
I know. And then the Winchester School District website has a whole section on the high school selection process from soup to nuts, if you want to see all the information there. So lots of good stuff happening there.
I think the meeting on Saturday or the forum was as successful as it was because you presented so amazing and it gave it where people could understand, they felt comfortable, didn't feel like a pressure, like it was.
I'm blushing.
You did a really good job.
Should really working for that second.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, have 1 star, Ken.
It
Didn't bring my wallet either. I'm sorry.
I walked away, I felt like it was a success. I felt like people understood, they were looking forward to it. And I thought it was a good forum.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we'll keep doing that. And Jane and I worked a little bit today to try and create a visual. We want to create a graphic on that last slide that was up there regarding the increase in revenue means a decrease in tax dollars we asked the town. And so if we had 3 cups here, the 2 outside cups are full of water. One is yours and one is incoming revenue, and they're full of water. And the middle cup is empty. The more of the revenue water we put in that cup, less of the tax money we have to put in, which means you keep that money. And that's kind of the whole point of shrinking that middle of where people have to pay. That's the whole idea. And I think in a cost neutral or semi-cost neutral, I know we're looking at a 1.7% increase overall on our budget, but in the grand scheme of things, what has taken place to get to 1.7%? If we can maintain or even minimize that over the next couple of years and increase the revenue anywhere from $1 to $2 million, it's $1 to $2 million less that we're asking taxpayers to contribute to the schools. That's the impact. It's going to be in the tax rate, and that's what we want people to really understand. The other piece is the academic side. Is we're able to offer classes that we currently can't because we don't have enough students. Even with the same number of teachers, we add even 30 students, we can increase our course load by 3 or 4 courses we currently don't offer. We have thoughts of trying to get back to woodworking. It was brought up in a staff meeting Monday afternoon or yesterday afternoon. Was it yesterday?
Yeah, that was yesterday.
Okay, all right.
Seems so long ago.
Of bringing physics. We don't have a physics class with a lab. Nope.
Really?
We don't have the capacity to teach it.
Every once in a while you do, but
Don't have the capacity to teach it. And so by adding you know, a body of students, we then create that opportunity within the master schedule to get more flexible. So it's things along those lines, personal finance, really getting into personal finance, having it be a
Our
standalone
students would
course,
like that. They're wonderful.
right?
Can you teach them how
I
to-
could absolutely
Yes.
teach them.
Yeah.
Teach them how to do their taxes.
Can I
please.
take that class?
So there's, you know, certainly a lot of ongoing conversation. If this was a football field, which is 100 yards long, we're probably right now around the 40-yard line. So we got a ways to go, but I like the open field in front of us. And so we'll see how it goes Monday night, and then we'll see January 23rd is when there will be a community forum in Winchester for families. And then there will be a showcase March 6th for the 2 schools on the warrant, so we'll be there. And it's an opportunity to present even more, with more detail to families who will then have to make a choice on that March 11th on that warrant. Have a tuition agreement or not. So lots to do, but we have a plan for it. And here in Hinsdale, we're pretty excited about it.
So we'll know by our town meeting whether we pick this or not. They'll have voted
Because they
for
will
that.
vote that Tuesday night before when we're doing all our other voting.
Right,
That's correct.
all right, cool.
And then the goal naturally would be, if we're chosen, to have a tuition agreement draft done quickly, come to an agreement so that we can do in Winchester a May special meeting, because there has to be a presentation and debate in front of the legislative body. And then a month later, you have a vote, and that's the way the SB2 town would operate that tuition agreement. The town has to vote to agree to the tuition agreement, it's cost item. So you have to have almost like a deliberative session for that item, and they're a month apart. So we're hopeful to do either April, May, or May, June. The reality is probably May, June. So. School board goals, remember those? Yeah, I wanted to just provide an update for us. Pretty good work thus far. It's all in the board report. Maria, this is part of the online agenda, correct? The board report, thank you. So folks can visit progress. Were there any questions about progress towards these goals, or any items that maybe I left out that the board wanted to have noted?
I was like, doing pretty good. He's keeping around.
Yeah, I really, yeah.
Okay, and the staff climate survey went out today, and that'll be open till Tuesday. Went out, gosh, I think about 11:30 or noon, and by 5 o'clock we had 40 responses already from staff.
Oh, very good.
So Donna, I don't know if Donna's responded, but have you seen it, Donna?
I have seen it, yeah, I
Okay.
haven't filled it out.
So it's not terribly long. I figured it was gonna take 5 or 6 minutes if you know, it's a Likert scale and you're able to add comments. But there have been a lot of comments. So what's great is Microsoft Forms tells you the average length of time it takes to complete it. Right now, it's 15 to 17 minutes.
Oh, wow, so
Good to
people are
know.
being thoughtful.
People are being very thoughtful.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
that's
Plan on
good.
20.
Well, I scanned down through it and I was like, this is not a 5-minute.
Yes, it is, Donna.
That's good though. It's good
I know,
people are
yeah.
being thoughtful and, you know, taking their time with it.
Yeah, so, and that falls under the goals. The board will continue to support the recruitment, hiring, professional culture, and growth of high-quality personnel. So when the data are available, we'll put that into a summary report for you. We'll bring our goals to bring back in February to share all of that information with you, and also make the report available to staff members. Okay, so there's not necessarily, there's nothing by name in there, but we'll work through the data and we'll determine, you know, how we want to present the information to make sure that you have it in great detail. Okay.
Great.
And I wanted to, it's not on my report, but because I just worked on it today. I worked through our AP potential list, and AP potential, just as a reminder, is were you gonna talk about it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Do you want to do
I
it?
want you to report. No, you are teaching me about it, so. It's okay. Please.
Thunder stealer over there.
Right?
That's exactly what she just said.
I was bored. I had 20 minutes, so I went through some data.
Not a word.
That's not
No,
what you do, Wayne, when you have 20 minutes.
23 minutes. Oh, damn.
I'm actually at the wrong table.
Wayne's still looking up Nate. It's good. I got you. It's We have 37 students who identified as qualifying for at least one AP course in which they would score a 3 on an exam, and that's grades 9, 10, and 11. So out of 120-ish students, 37 kids, so 30% of those 3 grades, in multiple classes. There are some students on here who qualify for all AP courses except physics. Shocker, right?
Yeah. Right?
Incredibly, there are 3 types of physics courses offered by AP, and none of our students qualify for that, and rightly so, because we're not exactly teaching.
Right.
So,
They haven't been presented with knowledge. That makes
Right.
sense.
right. So we have that's much higher than last year, much higher than last year. So we are meeting Monday with guidance to talk through course selection, AP potential. We're going to do the breakfast again. We're going to bring our students in. We're going to express to them what classes they qualify for that we offer. We're also going to share with them the AP Rural Network, which met today, about a 3-hour meeting this morning. I have a bunch of information from them. I got tied up for most of it, but we were able to connect and get a bunch of information from them that has us putting kids into classes now across the state in our network schools. And so even though, so for instance, we have students on here who qualify for computer science principles, US government politics, music theory, psychology. Even though we don't offer those, we have students who would qualify under AP potential for them. We can schedule them for the courses that are being taught by other schools, Linwood, Profile, White Mountain. So we're really opening up opportunity for a lot of our students. We're also going to use some of the data from our current freshman year and build our AP seminar class again that Karen Robinson teaches. It's the sophomore, basically it replaced English honors, English 2 honors. And so we'll work through and build a student base for that. So I just wanted to make sure I added that and not let Anna do it.
I did miss the meeting today, so.
All right, it was good. It was a lot of counselors. Yeah, so that was fun. Great, and that's my report. That's unfortunately that's all I have this week. So.
Even though it's short, it's a lot. So thank you.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions?
Dr. Ryan,
Sir,
refresh me. If Winchester decides to go to Hinsdale, what year do we start seeing the first influx of students?
26, 27.
26, 27.
Yes, so a year from next September.
From that, okay, thanks.
Yes,
Thank
so
you.
the current 7th graders would be our freshmen.
The 7th graders would, okay, thank you. Thanks, Ken.
And they would add, based on the enrollment we have now in Winchester, they would add up to 30 students. 30 students. Freshmen to make 68 based on our current enrollment in grade 7 here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? No? Thank you, Dr. Ryan. Mrs. Fortson?
Yeah, as you can see, my report's much shorter than Dr. Ryan's. I did not do one this month.
I wrote, way to go, Jane.
No, they're actually cheering for it.
But she's not gonna share your
You
story.
sent one that said 1.7%.
I did highlight a lot on this.
I was good with that.
Your report was actually
Your report had colors on it and everything. It was good stuff.
Well, I did just update. I put in NAEP, I did science of reading, and I did MTSS in an abbreviation worksheet that you guys will be getting. I'm in my office, so I'll be giving them to you. Mark actually got his last night, but anyway, I don't have a lot to update because we're kind of in a whole pattern with quite a few things. Did meet with the budget committee last night, and we're again meeting with them next week. There was one thing I wanted to update you on that I'm kind of bummed about, but I'm still gonna keep pestering. On Saturday, I opened up the letter from the IRS and I didn't win my second appeal. So I said to Gretchen, they said, we're gonna pay it because they haven't charged us any, while they were going through my first appeal, we weren't charged.
Interest.
Yeah, and so I said, let's pay it. And on it, it says, do you disagree with the finding? I'm, yep, well, I do. And then you have the right to appeal. So I'm gonna try a different tactic with them. So we'll see, because I'm not one to give up, but I also don't want to incur any costs, so it's 11,000 we're gonna have to pay.
Mm.
It's from the 2021 year, but it was worth a shot, and I didn't win this one, can't win them all, but I intend to keep trying.
It never
So,
hurts to ask.
exactly. The worst I can say is no.
Right.
And as long as there's no fines and no interest, I'm happy with that.
Right.
But that's really all I have. I promise I'll have more next month.
Any questions for Jamie?
Do we know when the February hearing is gonna be?
No. We haven't said it yet.
I figured. I
I-
love to wait.
Yeah, I'm actually, I'm gonna suggest they set it at our February meeting, our 15th meeting, but we'll see.
Not February 15th, January.
January,
Okay, I
thank
was
you.
like, please
Yes.
don't wait till February.
No, no,
15th.
we can't wait
Give
that
us a
long.
week. I
No,
know,
we
it's
can't
usually
wait.
that week, right?
Yeah. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Director of Academics and Career Readiness, Ms. Thompson.
Madam Chair and Board, you have my report, and thank you for approving our overnight trip. The kids will be jumping for joy tomorrow about it. We'll probably jump for joy tonight too, and letting everybody else know. So I appreciate that. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Anybody else have any?
Thought it was a great presentation, and I'm looking forward to hearing about the trip.
Yeah, the kids were a little nervous tonight. When we practiced, it was much smoother, but
This is, I was
intimidating.
like
Intimidating.
walking into an interview with one panel of people
Yeah.
is nerve wracking. I would have died walking
Yeah.
into this huge table filled with people. That is
Yeah.
so much,
I have
even as
never
an
seen
adult.
you be shy.
I have my moments when.
All right,
Lot
no
of people
questions for Karen?
No, I really liked your beginning with the holiday cheer, because I feel like we saw it a lot this year, and it's the first year that we've had holiday cheer back. So it was nice to see our schools, our staff, our kids like love it. I know my first grader was super excited. Our high schoolers were into it. So I thought it was really great that you had acknowledged it.
Yeah, it was everywhere. It was really nice
oh.
to see, and you're right, it's been a while.
It's
so
been so
it's
long, so
nice
it
to see.
just felt so good.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you.
Principal's report.
In career day, that's what I'm for.
Dana. Yes, you are.
Chair members of the board, you have my report. A couple of things I want to highlight. Ryan already stole my thunder about the piece up, so skip that. December was a lot of fun in our building. I had a whole calendar for the month of December for the staff of like dress up days and little presents and games. It's a very competitive game involving snowmen erasers. It was, people showed themselves. So it was a lot of fun. And then I hope you saw the picture. That thank you to Nate for taking me up in the lift. It was a scary moment for me. But, got that really good photo of our lunch, which was amazing. To have the whole school in the gym together and just to come together in community before we separated for break was really, really nice. And it went well. That, you know, Ms. Persian said, you just have a lot of big ideas and you don't seem scared of chaos. It's controlled chaos and when you have that many people in one room, but I have found that when we provide our students with that kind of challenge, they usually rise to it because they're enjoying what they're doing. So we did some fun things during the lunch, the band performed, and it was just a good day. December was fun, and I hope to just keep building in things like that for the staff and the students. And questions?
I have to admit, it took me a minute to figure out what this picture was. I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, is this the craft fair? And then I was like, oh my gosh, they're all eating lunch. Whatever. It's such a good picture.
Yeah.
Just coordinating that is a big
Yeah,
deal.
that's
Like,
all
how do you
I
get the
can think of.
lunches from the
That's all I
lunchroom to
can
the
think of.
gym?
Yeah.
Like,
And I was like,
without
wow.
It's a
spillage.
great picture. I think it's blown
I
up
know,
on
Nate
a
said
wall.
it was great.
It was.
So much.
Yes.
So
Definitely,
much fun.
definitely gonna want to
sure.
see that picture again somewhere around March 6th.
Yeah. So good.
The town report.
Yeah, that'd be
It's
good.
in my short list.
Good.
I can only pick 5 photos.
Don't worry, he'll do it for you.
No, I think that is a ballpark.
Okay, thank
but I have a bunch, but they're trying to, you really want, so.
So good. You can have more than one.
Thank you.
Obviously.
Perfect, thank you very much. Any questions? Anna?
Thank you.
Brings us to elementary school, Dr. Berger.
Madam Chair, board members, you have my report. One thing I wanted to just highlight, since we're in the depths of budget season, is one thing that being new here, we also can see what we have that's on the shelf and not being used, and how can we use it in a different way that is still evidence-based. And so to your points about, the year's worth of reading curriculum that has been purchased before, has been used before, we have a lot of leveled readers. So that's how we used to teach reading, was, you're a level B and eventually you're a C. And, however it goes up to, we have them. They're good texts. They're good literacy texts. And so what we are going to be doing to also bolster our science and social studies is to pull them, so that it's not at levels, but pull them into content readers, what we call content readers in the science of reading. So, so we're connecting the next gen science standards with the content readers, the leveled readers, but we're making them content readers that we have. We have 4 rooms of these at the elementary school that have pieces of storage of this. So we've been working with staff on where to do that, how to do that. We also have unused banks of lockers in the hallways. And so we're going to make that our content reader for science and some social studies topics. So we're utilizing resources we have already in an updated way. So I wanted to highlight that here. The other thing I wanted to highlight is just some appreciation of our paras. They're all over the place all the time, and they're so flexible. We've had at different points like one unfilled position, and everybody still just hops on board, jumps in, works together. And that group it's becoming more and more cohesive, which is really nice to see. And the other group I wanted to mention lines up with what Anna and Jeannie were talking about, is our title staff. During their you probably know that our 6 title staff, they job share. So we don't have 6 positions. We have like 3.5, 4 positions in the budget, but they each take part of a week. And they are all veteran teachers. So they worked during these 30, 40 years of science of the research that came to the science of reading. And so, their knowledge base we can't recreate. And so we really just need to I just wanted to appreciate that. Because when we, at the beginning of the year, when we added up that within our building, we had almost 1,000 years worth of education experience, the title group was 100 something of years. So, which is wonderful because they were here during all the different kinds of reading. So really leaning on and valuing their expertise. I just wanted to thank them here because it's sort of a, we have our teacher group that we meet at faculty meeting, we celebrate there, we meet with paras some, but that's a group that we don't always get to just take a second to thank. So, and then I did try to put as many, we had a hoot of an all-school meeting in December. You were there.
Yeah, I wrote best one yet.
Yeah, that was great. It was awesome. And Officer Moore read the poem, the Night Before Christmas poem. But we didn't have a mic situation. So I had to stand like this.
On a chair.
So that was fun. Another way to connect it. We've connected in police and fire, I think, pretty much every month to make sure our kids are comfortable and familiar with our community helpers.
And the happy birthday.
Oh, yeah.
That was like so sweet. It was such a good meet. It was such a good.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was a good one.
it really was.
Yeah.
They were all so happy.
And it was great because it was following up on the amazing concert both of our schools held here. The middle school and elementary concert was very well attended. And that chorus it blew me away. It was great. I tried to put as many updated known dates up here. I still have, I know I need to put in field day and a few other things, but I tried to start looking out as far as I could on some dates.
Any questions?
I like the dates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So please come to all school meetings. They're a hoot.
They're like, they were so happy, like you looked around that room and all the kid, like, and what was the song she was doing? First of all, they were Halloween, they were Christmassy songs and everybody was like, but the kids were so, the Santa one, that's what it was, SANTA.
Oh, yeah, and that was
And
their
they were
big
like,
chorus one from the concert.
Oh,
That
it was?
That was like the showstopper.
they were legit excited. First, you never see kids excited to get up there and sing. Like they're like, they were so excited and they were, oh my, it was great. The whole thing.
Even the national anthem, like the first all school meeting, we had like a small group of kids. And then we had a class do it the next one. And this time everybody was singing the national anthem so that a whole school could sing it. So it was just, yeah, everybody's involved. And we had more community members this one. Each one, we had a few more families,
That's
grandparents come in.
Oh, yeah. And I like that the teachers were like allowing, once the kids saw that their parents were there, the teachers were allowing them to leave their groups to go thank the parents. Thank you for coming. They gave them a hug. They stayed and sang a song. They went back with their class. It wasn't like, it was controlled chaos. It wasn't like sit here and be miserable. Like you need to go say hi quick.
Yeah.
And they were all so
siblings
happy.
spoke in, you know,
Yep.
it's like the preschoolers are there, so we, you know, that some of the older kids will go sit with the preschoolers.
It was amazing. It was so good.
Thank you.
Maybe I can promote the next one on our community connections.
Yeah, like, so January 17th, yep. They're all on my.
You'll be doing it in the high school gym by the end of the year.
Well, and you'll see they're at different times or different days of the week. We just, it's because somebody misses a prep to do this, so we rotate it through. But
And that's smart for parents too, so that they,
yeah, their schedules, they might be able to make one or two
Right.
or something, yeah.
it was great.
Awesome. Thank you very much. IT. Mr. Mario.
Madam Chair, you have my report.
Is it yours?
Well, I mean, it's my thoughts, my
I
thoughts.
was gonna say.
You're gonna have a robot voice read for it?
Oh, that would have been great. So with the holiday weeks thrown in there, the days that I was here, and it wasn't holiday days, there was just a lot of hands-on work, mounting access points and stuff. So there wasn't a lot to cover. So I had the 3 prompts to kind of throw in there. So I decided to use one of the tools that's available in the Microsoft 365 suite.
And he threw you under the bus. He just ratted you
Well,
out
he
like
threw
that.
himself
I
under the
did-
bus.
I did
write it
I
in the
did conclude in my
So-
as I mentioned last month, there's a couple options I could offer for more community transparency or communication. So that's just what I outlined here with the CC at HNHSD.org. I just figured shorten it from community connections at HNHSD. As I said in here, or did I say it? That part I did
Did
right,
AI
because
say it?
that's way too specific to us for AI to figure out from the prompts. If anybody still has like an old link or has it in their contacts, it gets forwarded to that CC. So it's still going to go to the same place. It's just a lot easier to remember and to link to it.
Yeah,
The demo forms link, I don't know if any of you had a chance to look at that.
I wasn't able to click on this here and I didn't get a separate
So you can copy. it.
email with the, but I didn't copy it. I just didn't.
Oh, okay.
Oh, see, I had his in a video.
That's a separate.
Yeah,
Oh, yes, yeah, I know.
it's just a real short form of what we can do.
She sent it. Maria
she?
sent it.
If that's something that you would like to use or to promote, I would just suggest that we either have Maria or somebody on the board set up the form, and I can do a little tutorial on how to do that. Because whoever the owner is automatically gets the responses, and I don't want to have to filter through the responses. You can add more people, but the owner of the form always gets the responses.
Okay.
And I don't really want to be involved in that, but does that?
That's fine.
Like, please don't make me do this.
Please don't make me do this. Yeah, no.
So, but that's what the form can do, and we can add all whatever fields.
Yeah, I think
thing up,
that's
so
cool.
just to show what we can do.
Can you add, I'm wondering if, like, on community connections on our page, if you can. There must be something under the bio where you can attach a link to the form if they, to contact, like, you know, how people put
Right.
contact
Yeah.
us. You know what I
You
mean?
could even probably
Something
make a
like that.
post and then just pin the post too, and
Yeah.
it's always
Oh, yeah, if you
right,
just pin it.
right at the top.
Which I'm just realizing I forgot to do for this meeting. I'm so sorry, everybody.
See, that's why we don't have. any.
I know. So, yeah, that's all my fault. I'm sorry. I'm just realizing it now. But yes, okay, yeah, so that'd be cool.
Does the CC at HSD, does that go to our emails, or is that a separate email account we need like a password to get into?
So the old community connections one wasn't up to date. It still had a couple of former board members, so I updated that, so it's all of you.
Okay.
Maria was already on it, and I include Dr. Ryan.
Okay, perfect.
So that's 7 of you
So
Okay.
we go on all of
are
those.
on it. Yep.
I just want to make sure I didn't need to remember another password.
Yep. No, it'll just show up in your inbox. Everyone will get it at the same time.
Perfect.
All right. Any other questions for Justin?
So we just have to figure out how to do the forms
Form.
thing, so you don't have to deal with it.
Yeah, I have a nice little tool I've been using. Maria's been the recipient of a few how-tos I've created with it. And I'll just either email a link to Maria to get to you, or I'll email all of you. Maybe I'll use the CC at HHSD.
There you go.
And it'll just walk you through. It's like 3 steps, these Microsoft forms, and then you can kind of play with it and figure out from there exactly what fields you want.
Yeah. Just because I'm just wondering with the form, like, if one of us was in charge of it, like, years from now, we might not be here, so
Right.
like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean, like, should
Can
it be
it be
somebody,
transferred?
I don't know.
like, can it be created by the district? Like, is there a,
Like a district?
I don't
like an
have,
address?
yeah, I don't have
or
an
something? I
account,
don't know how it works.
like a generic account yet, but I could set up a generic district account or a school board district account and create it under that, I guess. Yeah. I just need to know what fields to
Right?
I
tap
like
in
the
there.
example
I
you
know.
gave first.
I mean, it's
Okay.
pretty easy.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be much. I mean,
Yeah,
just
no,
offer someone a place to type in their thoughts
Yeah.
or complaints.
Yeah, I think
Right?
simple is definitely best.
yeah.
Yep.
Everybody agrees with that form, you guys agree with that form?
Okay.
Sounds
so
great.
I'll set that up and send you the real link then.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that'll
so
make
just,
us more
like,
accessible.
For future, you know.
Future
thinking-
generations.
Yeah, because if one of us is in charge of it, then
Right.
it might not be.
That was the issue with the
available.
Facebook
Yeah,
page, because I
right.
created it and then had to not be an administrator.
Right.
It took a long time to
Yeah, yeah,
get myself off of
Right.
it, so.
All right, cool. Thank you, Justin.
You're welcome.
We're good?
That's my own.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. So, Director of Student Services, Mrs. Abby Wallace.
Madam Chair and Board, do you have my report? Do you have any questions? If you can notice that we've been very busy in
Mhm.
special ed. You know, we're still doing ongoing LEA determinations. We had Medicaid training with Dan Porter. That's some of the findings for that we have found from our Medicaid audit. So he was able to kind of, we've done three different trainings. We did one with just administration, we did one with case managers, and then we did one with all related services. Excuse me, and it's like, you know, I heard this was the best 2 hours, this was that, you know, it was the fastest 2 hours that they've seen, because and you know, it's pretty impressive that you can make Medicaid anxiety. So
That is
just
pretty-
saying.
that is true.
It's pretty impressive in itself. And you know, as you know, the elementary school coordinator position, is open, so I've been filling that position, so I'm exhausted only after 5 days. And Sarah Burgess will be joining starting at the third quarter, which is January 27th.
Sounds right.
Okay, January 27th, as part of, because she is doing her Keene State internship. So we've kind of finagled stuff in reference to having her be over there for a chunk of time, like 4 hours to be able to facilitate some of the tasks. So it kind of takes it off my plate, so I'm not doing both jobs. There's going to be a lot of training, so I'm still going to be over there a lot, even during that time frame. So I'm anticipating being very busy and tired for the next few months.
Yeah.
If you have any questions.
I just had a question. So,
Yes.
under other interesting things happening in special ed,
Yes.
we had a family dinner, which was great. And, but all special education students from grade 8 through 12 have completed high school. What does that mean?
Looks like I got cut off.
Yeah.
That should actually be eliminated because that was a carryover from the last one where it was talking about the transition surveys.
Okay, all right.
So I
I
apologize.
assumed it was something.
I looked at this
wanted to
thing
make
like
sure.
5 times before submitting. I'm just saying.
You got a lot on your plate, Patty. It's okay. I just want to make sure I wasn't missing something.
No.
Just goes to show April does read
I
everything.
do.
That's good. I apparently browsed. I perused, I guess.
Well, thank you, Patty. Anybody have anything else for Patty? All right, thank you so
Thank you,
much,
Patty.
Patty. I'm loving getting these reports, by the way.
Yeah, they are very informative.
And I love this little fact sheet that you attached here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that brought a lot of information I had no idea about, which was great to read.
Yeah, and that's something my association does. They started it last year, I think, and then we carried it over, and then they're going to be doing it pretty much it's on right around budget season, and they're going to release that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. All right, facilities director.
Madam Chair and members of the board, you have my report. I'm happy to answer any questions for you. One thing I just wanted to point out that I highlighted here, it's not more just to bore you with the things that we do. It's more just to emphasize that being fully staffed is just been great for me, just because right now, as everyone knows, like there's a lot of sickness going around. Also, during the time when we have breaks, that's when we probably work the most for our guys do. And having fully staffed right now, it's like we can accomplish so much more, especially when, like when we have that week leading up to break, we had a lot of setups and breakdowns that required, my guys did a great job at being flexible and coming in and doing what they needed to do.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
yeah. My guys have been so flexible for it, and we get a lot done. It's nice to have a large group of people that we can just get in there and get what we need to get done, and also have coverage when people are out. Because at the beginning of my time, we didn't have that, and it was difficult. So.
I don't think it's boring. I like seeing it.
Yeah, it's I think it's kind of boring because it's just to tell you like the things that we're doing, but it's more just to show like the stuff that we're able to do when we have the people.
I like seeing it too, and then we know what's happening, right?
Yeah.
Then we can justify that for the budget too, so it's helpful.
Yes. Thank you. Any questions for me?
Just was wondering, you're still working on your leftover salt from this year, and you do plan on coming down to the highway garage to get salt when it's needed?
Yep.
Okay. And we did do our first full load for the town of cardboard town today, and obviously a portion of the cardboard that we're no longer paying for here, and it's going down there, ended up being was it $1,666 worth of revenue coming into the town rather than an expense leaving the school. So it was a portion of it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Nice.
So
I know.
Yeah, so I mean.
A lot of hard work.
I mean, that's townwide too, but it's
Works
just,
for both of us.
it's great for the town side
Yeah.
and it's good for us not to be sending money out and it's just being shipped out and having it being revenue.
Yeah.
Yep, and that was, having that, having the guys to be able to accomplish that. Because if we're having, having fully staffed, we're able to do certain things like that, that can justify having a full staff, more, not just the stuff that we do in the building, but things like that where, we can take on, like bringing stuff down for the town or whatever, so that, ultimately our money can stay here.
Yeah, rather than being paid out to just throw it out.
Yep.
Right.
So, yeah, I just wanted to let you know that it is definitely worth, your extra effort, is appreciated.
Thank you.
Madam Chair? Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Jim.
I just wanted to kind of tag on to Nate's report in notifying the board that Nate has completed the first level of certification
Nice.
as a certified school facility specialist.
Excellence, the fun one.
Yeah.
Just any updates on the MSW, the solid waste, or you still thinking about bringing that to the transfer station?
Are you
The
talking
trash?
like trash?
Yeah.
So the next thing I wanted to do, once we get past what we're dealing with right now for this week, trying to pick out another block of days that we can start bringing it down there again. So currently, I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but currently we went down for three days worth. And I believe, what did we bring back? I can't remember exactly what it cost us for.
The 3 days?
Yeah, I don't remember. I'll make sure to put together a little bit better.
I know it was a little higher than what I was just
Yeah.
throwing a number out there, and then I looked at it and I think it was still with just a 52-week average we had talked about, it was about a $6,000 savings. And that's with it being a 52-week average of what you brought down.
Yeah.
So
With that's if kids were in school for 52 weeks.
Right.
So I mean, if we can put together another block of days and then just back up those numbers, then we can definitely really sit down and have a conversation.
Yeah.
And come up with whether it's going to be possible and where we go from there with that, with talking to the town and sitting down with that side of it all. But to have those numbers, another block of days would be great.
Yeah, it's on the to-do list. Is recently we've been so busy and been sick a little bit, but yes, that is coming up that we're planning on, setting up another 3 days worth to go down and do that. So.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Problem.
Anything else? I have something separate when you're done with me. Oh, I forgot about them. Can I go now?
Yeah, we'll see. Let's make sure we're done. We go with Nathan. Nate?
Yes, sorry about that.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you, Nate.
Okay, next week.
Yeah, I just forgot to ask during my report out. We are having a career day at the end of March. What I think would be fabulous is to bring back as many alumni to speak at career day that we can. I think it would be a really cool thing to have most of our presenters be alumni students. I don't have I'm not an alumni, but you guys are residents. So I'm just asking that if you know people that might be willing to come speak, and I don't want to narrow the scope on anything. It doesn't have to be a college graduate. It has to be, and it can be students that graduated 2 years ago. It doesn't matter. I just need their name and contact. If you could email that to me, I feel like I'm going to be tapping into certain people that might want to help with this. Kendra. We did speak.
Isn't she in charge of alumni?
Yeah, so I'll be talking to her
She would
too,
be a
but
good contact too.
so if there's any names that you guys might know that you think would be really great to come speak, and this will be a 6 through 12. That was decided by the guidance department to make it a 6 through 12 career day. So it'll be for everybody. So the more the merrier.
What's the date?
Yeah, I knew you were gonna ask that.
Sorry.
Yes.
It's coming up soon.
That's that day.
That day.
Right, correct. Thank you, Molly. That's right. I'll get you that. It's the last weekend of March. I know.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember the exact date. We put on the calendar.
That's fine. How are you gonna-
Yes,
that's
Eric
when
will
you're
put my
talking
calendar
to
for me.
My March calendar is probably answer.
Because we need the date, right?
I am bored at home a lot of the time, so I did offer to help.
She's sits on a whole throne of lies.
March 21st.
March 21st, that's right. Let me
You're
put it in
bored at
before.
home?
I don't have a lot to do
That
when I'm
says a
home.
lot for Wayne.
Listen,
He's busy at home.
I do have a new
cooking,
baby at home, so
Oh,
I
that's
am,
right.
I am, all right, wait, this career day is March 21st.
Yes. That's right. Separate from Kindness Day, which will be an April, that's another plan.
Kindness Day is in April.
April
Okay.
18th,
Career
which
day.
I'll be talking to
I'll
Dawn
put that-
about, maybe making it okay, both Kindness Day.
Okay.
They loved
Since I
it.
just figured out when we're doing stats and I didn't have time.
All right.
Yeah, yeah.
I figured it out.
Okay.
I just meant.
One
to
night.
do it.
Perfect. I didn't put a calendar in my report yet, so I will next month.
All right, thank you very much, everyone. On to new board business. We have the PTA here. Talk about playground. Sarah, you're up.
I'm up. I'm a one-woman show.
Yeah.
Sarah, I'm sorry, could I ask you to come up and
Yes,
speak into the
thank you,
microphone
Sarah.
so our Diamond Club
Forget how
member
this
who's
works.
online will be able to hear you? Thank you.
I'm Sarah Huden. I am the current president of the PTA. And the short of it, PTA wants to build the elementary school new playground. And we want to fundraise and take financial responsibility for it because we know that things are difficult. It's a big ask. It's a big project. Nate came to one of our meetings recently. There's just little things. We keep doing Band-Aids. The playground's 16 plus years old. There's a lot of areas that we've identified that we think could be better. Accessibility for all students and my gosh, just like the rubber pieces, for example.
We've
Had
reached,
I
we used-
known.
I know, we used to spend.
Sorry, April, that
I
wasn't
know.
a, right? Like it
I
seems like
know.
such a great idea.
It was a great idea.
16
at the
years
time.
later.
Better than stones.
Right?
Because
standard.
I know.
That was
Yeah.
the announcing, I know.
Just much
I
different.
know.
And that's kind of our expiration. It's
Yeah.
like, how about- yeah. We're recognizing that this is not like an immediate project. We're not gonna be able to go tomorrow. But PTA is a volunteer board. We can fundraise, we can accept money. We need to know the legalities of, we can't just go and put a playground up on the school property. So we're coming as like, we're in the starting process. We would obviously love to work with anybody that wants to be involved. We would like to set up a little committee for anybody in the community that would like to have input, if they would like to be involved, because we're gonna hopefully rely on volunteers to put it together, to save us some money if we can. And like I said, financially, we have been working on the board has been working on some plans, so that, like I said, we would fund the entire project through fundraising. And I'm just forgetting a piece. Oh, we would like to do a survey. We know that parents, I mean, time's valuable. We know parents don't always get out to meetings. So if you can't join the committee, we still want their input. We want permission to ask, what would you like to see? What would you like to, like, what are your kids' favorite parts of the playground? But we also really want the teachers' input, the staff. I talked to Deb Carrier. She's been our PTA teacher rep for a very, very long time. She, right, forever. She was around for the last playground, maybe two. And just getting input from the staff, because parents, sure, we can see what our kids like at the end of the day when we're popping up, but the teachers, like what makes sense from the staff point of view. And also, Nate and I talked at the last meeting about like accessibility, like how does that playground work for all of our children and any that would be coming up to use the facilities. So I think at this point, we're looking for permission. We would ask Nate to kind of coordinate getting some quotes, like what are we looking at as far as cost? And then just kind of setting a timeline. I think we kind of proposed like 2 years. We kind of rough,
I guess
like,
it depends on what kind of, it depends on a lot of different factors.
Yeah.
But it's not something that's gonna go in the
Yeah.
summer.
No.
I mean, it's gonna take some time, for
Yeah.
sure.
I know the current playground took, like, it was started before me, like fundraising for it, so it was like, yeah. Right, 3 years to do that playground.
And how much was that?
you'd have to ask me.
Come on, 16 years, same thing.
I know we got
Yeah.
$40,000 from the town from a fund that they had. So it was $100 and something.
Yeah, it was probably well over
Yeah.
100.
It's not cheap.
The liability.
It's-
Yeah.
And it's only, it's gonna be significantly more probably.
It's under 2.
Yeah, I would think so.
200,000?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
because now if they
I had
do
like 30
anything,
grand in
if you
mine.
change that playground at all, they have.
How much?
I never built a playground
If
before.
if they change that playground at all, they have to make it ADA
Yeah.
accessible,
Right.
so that will change the surface,
Mhm.
for sure.
And all of the structures and
Yeah.
everything, yeah.
Yeah, so that'll have a big impact on it.
No spinning of death.
Mm-mm.
No.
That
Those are
went
out.
away
Those
with
are out.
my.
Those are
I know,
out.
I was
We brainstormed what it
Yeah.
looked like when I was a kid, we're like, X this off, right?
Metal slides are
slide,
gone.
wooden
Wooden
bridge.
Oh, the wooden bridge was amazing.
X that all out.
You guys.
Right.
Yeah.
With the survey, we were hoping I've already been told we don't drone at math night. We have a good old time at math night.
Yes.
But we were hoping to have a table at math night, which is in the dates in the March 20, whatever, it's in my
Yeah.
report. Thanks, Ron. And to have gotten the survey out ahead of that, a few weeks ahead, I think we're trying to meet in
Beginning of March.
in February, we're
let's
gonna,
shift it.
we're gonna do work together to make the survey in February. Get it out for a couple weeks and then just have a station up so people at Math Night could fill it out and see like, hey, this survey currently says this, but we don't know what you want.
Yeah.
And like, because surveys are math, and so we wanted a table at Math Night, but not a drone.
Yeah.
Math Night.
Yeah, math night is fun.
It is so fun.
I always love that.
Me too.
I miss it. I know.
We have another. That's what I found.
So do you need something?
So
from us?
the-
Like
Well, that's what we
permission?
weren't sure. We weren't sure if we need permission. It's school grounds. You know, obviously, we don't want to just come in and assume we can just tear down the playground and put a new one up. So, because it's gonna be on the school grounds, insurance, all that stuff. We just wanted to come and also like make it more of like we're all a team. We're not just like the PTA is gonna do this. Here you go, guys. Here's our plan. It's more of, this is our idea. We love your support. Is there anything we need as far as permission?
I know that when we did the playground, like the PTA, once it was done.
Yeah.
Turned it over to the school.
Yeah,
Or
that's
the kind of thing. So I
Yeah.
don't know if there's you just have to have permission to do it,
Right.
obviously.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To do that project.
and then the gift.
And then the
that's our
gifting of it
intentions.
afterwards,
Yes.
basically.
Mhm.
Because the insurance and stuff will be held by the school.
Right. And we just didn't know that part too, April, as far as the insurance goes, if there are any specifics of the layout of the, the design, obviously, we're talking about the
There were-
fencing, like, there's very specific
So I can
things
tell
that-
you that tree, you can't touch.
Oh, we already talked about that.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Just so
I
you
already
know.
said, no, we're not.
And it is a problem with designing the playground.
Yeah.
Which is how we ended up with what we have currently.
Yeah.
Because things have to be so far away from like fencing
Yeah.
and other things, and there's a lot of logistics to it. Which a playground, we went through a company, obviously, and they'll help you with all of that stuff. Regulations and whatnot and things like that, so we relied on them for that.
Okay.
Because I would have done it totally differently.
Yeah.
But I couldn't.
And
So,
they talked about that.
with the
contacting a
layout.
Couple of different companies.
Yeah, so right now, currently on Friday, I have somebody that actually is a preferred vendor of what is there now.
Mhm.
And he's gonna come, he's playground certified, all that stuff. So
Mhm.
it's really more just to have him come out, take a look at what we have,
Yeah.
get an idea. He can present me with, some, I'm sure he's gonna give me plenty of catalogs and stuff like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah,
We can
yeah.
look through and,
There's all sorts of stuff.
oh, there's tons of stuff. Yep. I think it's just more so he can take a look at it and set an idea of, what our next steps are, what we can have, what we can't, and then we can have a ballpark idea of cost.
Mhm.
That's kind of what,
Yeah.
that's kind of like my next step for it.
Yeah, that'd be
That's
the
gonna
next
be
step.
great.
All right, we got.
The ELM Community Center in Winchester relatively recently put a new one up. And I was on the board, there was a process, but they might be a good contact because they might have some of the legwork done.
Right.
They might have,
That's true.
so it might be worth
Yeah.
calling them to see who did you reach out to, who was the best,
Because I know they got a lot of volunteers to put theirs together.
They had, it was completely volunteer to put it together.
Usually a fire department's good for that kind of stuff.
Ah, I know a few guys.
A lot of
Yeah.
tradesmen on that.
Yeah,
stuff.
Kendra, can you
I can verify
What?
at 16
twist a
years
few
old.
arms
With who?
for volunteers to
Mark,
put
Oh.
stuff together?
Listen, he
He was
doesn't.
talking about he planted that tree also, so I think that was you
that
volunteering for
big around?
helping, right?
You remember?
Yeah. I
You
helped
don't
out- I
remember
helped dig
being
the
there
hole.
for
Oh,
Christmas
no, I
tree?
did, no, that's why I said that. I
Oh.
said that tree stays.
Yeah.
completely as it
I wore
is,
my
so
Friends
that's
of
not-
Krista shirt for it.
We,
I had her on my Catholic graduation.
yeah, we had, back in the day, you could get Yankee, Vermont Yankee with all their volunteers to come over and help you build it. That's where I got. They had, I tried to get them, actually, they had, the heifer parade was the same day, so we were already volunteering in that.
Oh,
So, but we had plenty of people, it took us a little longer, but I think we had enough people, you just put the word out. That's what.
Have you
Yeah.
heard
Yeah,
about
usually really-
any burned armpits from the last? Because
Oh,
everybody's-
yeah.
Yeah, at our
Yes, they've all been talking about their burned underarms.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Something to look forward to, Mark.
I was pregnant with Chase when we built it, so I got definitely 16.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. That said that was her.
That's the only reason I know how old it is. Yeah.
And,
Oh, that doesn't seem that
the
old.
rubber stuff has a 8 to 12 year lifespan.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, so we've hit that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Remember raking all that back into?
Yes,
Alright.
we had a playground.
Well, you're
cleanup day
ambitious.
where we
Good
tried to
job.
do it.
Good luck.
Good job.
Ambitious.
Good luck. Yeah.
We approved.
And we'll just
I don't think we
update.
need to take an official.
Okay.
vote.
No, but I would recommend formal proposal on project
Yes,
timeline.
yeah, once you get all
To
that.
bring back, because
Absolutely,
you want to
yeah.
make sure scalability,
course.
liability,
Yeah.
that all of that is within the
Yeah.
board's
Yep.
level of understanding.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's all, just so that's all,
Yeah,
so that when you're
continue
ready
to
to turn it over, the board can say yes.
Absolutely.
Right.
Okay.
Definitely with the planning, you don't want to plan around day camp.
Mhm.
So it's gonna have to
I
be
know,
like
it's
a
like,
very
when is
quick
it not
Before it
tear
starts
down,
or after.
rebuild timeframe.
Does it have to be on the side of the school?
Right.
That's, I was gonna say, does it have to be in that
Whoa,
location?
have to be there?
Oh,
I know,
Who
like.
are you to come?
I know.
and change
Whoa.
it?
Outsider.
Whoa, it's always been there.
That's where it goes.
I know, well, maybe
You
if you
just
want
wanna
a bigger
rip our
one.
childhood memories out for
Well,
us?
you leave the tree alone, you
Put them
know,
out by the animals.
But it also depends on
Not yet.
what property,
Is there another?
because the property line.
There's not
take
that
some
many.
site work, I don't know, you can use it for other learning space, outdoor library, outdoor classroom, I don't know, I'm just throwing things out there.
That's
Good
all.
idea,
All
Deb.
things for you to consider.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And bring back
Come
to
back with a
us.
very detailed.
Where's that gold
Thank you
star?
all.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you,
It's your
Cheryl.
problem tonight. I just wanna rip it from you.
Rip that gold star right away.
I don't want you to have it.
I know.
Great. This email got a little rocky, so I'll-
They run the time.
All right, moving on to budget development update. We got the update.
We got the update.
Yes.
And it was awesome.
Yes, I think, if I'm remembering right, we need to vote on it being the final draft to bring to public.
You're meeting with budget committee next week,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it's posted meeting, right, for both?
Yes.
So would, after
do it that
discussion,
night.
would that be a way to do it?
I would wait,
Yeah.
just
So
in
we
case
can
there's
all do
another
it.
recommendation
Yeah.
and decide that the number needs to change.
Yeah, that's
You'd have to
true.
take another vote.
Because I really want one budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now I think that was my big thing. I really was hoping we could get under 2%. I was pretty sure we
I
could
know.
for a minute.
Me too.
And now I'm like,
I'm very
woohoo,
happy.
this I can get behind.
Yeah.
I have some inserts that I will give you. And again, just like last time, page one, take your page one out, put the new one
Yeah.
in and so forth.
Awesome.
Are there any questions about that at
So,
this point?
yeah, I have a question. So the proposed budget is 15,279,585, right?
Uh,
I don't have it.
no, what else?
Yeah,
It sounds
I'm
okay.
not
I'm gonna
necessarily-
go with that, Mark.
Yeah,
Sounds
Is that the
great.
1.7?
but the total appropriations for the warrant article is 16,178,585.
Yes.
That's with the teachers.
No.
No,
Oh, I thought it
No.
was.
that's a separate.
Mark, what we have to add in is you
I'm
have
getting
to,
confused here because,
it's okay.
you know, when we have 15,279, then we have 16,178. Is the 16,178,585 the 1.70%?
No, the 15 is. So what happens is you have your operating budget. you then have to appropriate your grant money and your food service
okay,
grant money.
okay, all right.
So it comes on, you have to appropriate it and vote for it over here, but on the revenue, that same amount is
I
there.
see what you're saying. now.
Yep,
Now,
and I
that-
think,
no,
I
that's
think
perfect, that's perfect.
one of your last worksheets, I want to say like page 59 or 60, Mark, is gonna have a little bit of that breakdown in there
Okay.
for you.
Thank you very
Yep,
much.
not a
That
problem.
helps me out a lot. Okay.
Any other questions? Public forum discussion. I think we kind of talked about it. Is anybody, is there any more discussion that you had on it?
I had no.
Well, you can go to the website and check out the presentations I did.
I thought it was very good. We definitely got a couple different flavors of opinions.
Yeah.
It was nice, it was definitely nice to see some Winchester residents there as well.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I thought that was really nice to see them, see us
Right.
in both opinions.
Yeah.
So I thought that was huge and.
And that shows, interest
Well,
on there,
they're-
but that's nice to see.
And their community, much like us.
Right.
They are trying to figure out how to educate their kids without the help of the state.
Right.
Basically, that's what's going
Basically,
on.
yeah.
So.
And how can we do it and help each other?
so
Right.
that's-
Yeah, I thought it was great. All right, district meeting discussion.
District meeting.
It's
We're
kind
gonna
of
have-
in March.
we're gonna have
like,
one.
no district meeting. We're having one.
Everyone's like,
We haven't went that week yet. We haven't. The budget's not finalized.
I think we should have some sort of like smaller presentation to everybody at that. I'm assuming you guys would.
We did that
agree.
last year,
Yeah.
community forum for the budget.
Yeah, we'll definitely have a community forum, I think, but like at the town meeting.
Oh, for the winter.
Oh,
wondering.
like a presentation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not as big as we would normally do like at our forum or something, but something that's gonna capitalize all the information about our budget and get it out to people. We're
Well, should we
sitting
wait?
there.
Well, obviously.
We did
don't
that
wanna-
last year.
Yeah.
Wait, but we'll know by town meeting if.
We'll
we
know
have to
Wednesday
use it or
morning.
not.
Yep.
We'll know Wednesday morning, so we'll have something put together and we'll know whether we
Right.
Either
Either
it
you
out
read it
or
or you
we
don't.
read it.
Right, yeah.
And April, once the two committees approve the budget, I will be putting the entire budget packet that you guys have up on the website.
Okay.
So they can view it.
Oh, that would be.
That'll be
so
good. And then I can make a
Refer
community post,
people,
yeah, I
yeah.
was gonna say, I can make a community post with the link to it, and so that would be great.
Yeah. that will help.
I finally made one for Dr. Ryan,
Thank you.
real paper.
Okay, never mind. I'm a giver. I give.
I do have to write our little thing still, so I have to the 12th. Maria, to write that
For annual report?
for the annual report. Yeah.
Fine you.
I know. She's-
I know, it's a good thing.
17.
No,
Okay,
oh,
so it's
no,
better.
I know.
I'm giving myself the
I
12th.
gave April a short of window. No,
I'm giving myself to the 12th. Because if I made a whole.
Yeah.
I might have Justin's AI right now.
All right, any other discussion for the meeting?
Do you want posted or do you want?
Well, hang on, we got a first aid
I don't
problem.
know. What did she do?
Administering drugs.
Is she
Flag on the play?
speaking?
No, guys,
She's got a tummy ache.
drinking lemon water, I'm having heartburn. Can you all just
Sorry.
LIOB?
Hang on, hang on.
She's so mean.
It's okay, public, she's fine.
Thank you, Dr. Wallace.
Thank you.
Next.
I know, but I don't.
Board evaluation.
School board evaluation.
School board evaluation.
That was fun. That was hilarious.
So we need to set up our annual meeting that we have to, usually we set it up before the town meeting.
Is it before?
Yeah, so if any outgoing
Oh,
members,
right.
I think you say.
Which there shall not be.
I'm hoping not.
Oh, yeah,
For
you're the
you
only,
people.
you're the only one that's up right now,
Well,
right?
get your people to vote for me.
If
you want,
Are you
I
up for election
Just me, yeah.
Just her.
Yeah.
this year?
This year.
Make sure
In
you
March?
file.
In March.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, June.
So you stop it.
I do plan on running, so, yay.
Okay.
Yes,
We'll hang signs.
hopefully, yes, thank you. I'd appreciate it. I do have some signs at home somewhere in my basement from the last.
Mark's really good at putting them in great places.
Yeah, great places, right down the transfer station. Everybody sees it. Everybody-
Perfect, I'll give you one.
Okay.
I've got a couple in the garage you can have.
For me?
I was gonna say,
You can.
I was gonna say,
rewrite.
no, those ones say my.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Anywho.
Anywho,
Could I recommend that it be February 12th at 5 o'clock, which is right the same night as a board meeting? That way you both the birds with one stone.
Can we do that?
I don't know how long it took last year.
I'll talk quick.
I was gonna say, I can't remember last year, but past years it took a long
Yeah.
time.
So we're already
We had to
gonna be
do it
here
on a
for
Saturday.
February 12th,
yeah,
so
I mean, I don't,
just means I
I
come
don't
right
mind
straight
that.
here from work, or
are you
Fine with me.
talking about doing it before or after?
Before.
So if we did 4:30 or 5, if we did 4:30, then we could all take a break to the bathroom.
We'll allow it.
Teachers don't do that.
If 4:30 works. To take breaks.
Maybe we get some food. too.
4:30, yeah.
You're gonna feed us?
You don't have to come to that.
No,
Well, I'll be a little late,
it's
but
just for you. We do 4:45.
You can be here.
But I have
for
food
this
for you.
thing.
We'll have less.
there's no, I also have other
Work-
appointments that week,
double
so I'm
workout.
not gonna leave early. I'll just be here at like 4:40. That's fine.
Want to just say 4:45? then?
4:45.
sure,
That
yep,
works?
that's fine.
We're all
On
here.
February
This is the
12th.
school board
Yeah.
evaluation.
This is
right?
like
You-
our
You guys
evaluation,
talk to
our
each other.
self-evaluation,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. that
Yeah,
one.
so staff doesn't need to attend that until the
No.
board meeting at 6
It's
o'clock,
just
right? It's a board activity.
As
Oh
a
my
superintendent.
You're welcome to
He
attend.
gets to tell, he gets to tell us how
No,
awful
thank-
we've been all year. Thank you for offering that. All right, so 4:45. All right.
And it's gonna be here?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
We'll take care of getting food for us, okay?
And I'll find that form that we did and get that out to everybody before then.
In teams, we should make,
I
can
know.
we get into teams first, right? I think so. Justin, can we get into, that's what I thought.
We'll look at
We
it.
should make like a file with all
Like
of,
those kind of
all of
forms.
those forms that we use, that it's always like,
It might even be in somewhere.
I'm sure it is, but
Yeah.
just so it's in, for, again, future. generations.
All right, perfect.
Policy readings.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask Donna if she wanted to go through each one of those.
I think you should,
You
yeah.
think-
Yeah,
Should we?
Word by
okay,
word.
again, okay.
What would you just do?
I didn't catch nothing.
Any questions? Or I wanted to say heartache, but I won't. Kendra. Any second thoughts about the policies, questions, anything on?
No, I thought you did a great job.
Great job.
I don't know how to get you
Was
nothing.
any,
You don't, okay.
I
I
don't understand.
didn't scan through the 60 pages,
Oh, okay.
but,
Thank you.
did we change, wasn't there follow-up related to who we needed to list for the chemical piece and follow-up on
Yes.
the DCYF reporting or something like that?
Oh, I
So
did have
I-
something on the DCYF
So
reporting.
operationally wise, yes, and that's what they're approving the policy doesn't change.
So there was nothing we
What
needed
we
to
add.
change. Okay, those were the only two pieces I was like, those are hanging.
Right.
Okay.
I thought the
You had
word,
a question on the DCYF? one?
yeah, because I thought the word intake needed to be put in, but what page
So
is
that's
this?
JLF.
My lord, why are you gonna talk to me like that?
Wait for it to back.
I think I just went through it all.
Child abuse and everything.
It's like the third or fourth one. on the list.
Oh, let me reread it one more time, sorry. I didn't
Are
write
you
a
talking
note.
about the
No,
form
that's
or the
okay.
policy?
The policy personnel notes of reports, each person knowledge of report. No, this one isn't it. I felt like we needed to put the word intake in on one of them
The
because,
only,
but I might have,
the only caution I would put forth is that DCYF did participate in auditing these policies, which
Okay.
is why they're revised the way they are. Is the School Boards Association got together with their legal counsel and worked through to change some of the language and some of the steps that are in there. And DCYF is definitely not my wheelhouse. I know you probably have a lot.
yeah, and I honestly, like, I thought I wrote it down on here where I thought that the word intake needed to be put in, but I don't see that I
In
wrote
the
it down.
policy or the form?
The policy.
Okay,
Because the form is the one we like, is newish, right?
yeah, that will,
I'll go back over and look, but you're probably, since you did it with them, I'm guessing that I just
Yeah.
thought it sounded like it was funky and needed the word intake.
so
Also,
if you
just
find it later.
Daryl, sorry,
No, go
Daryl
ahead,
from he was the new head from DCYF and DHHS. They're trying to get away from the word intake, so just that it might be a mute.
What?
It might be a mute thing. I just had a meeting with them
Oh.
yesterday, and that was one of the things that came up, is that just that word, because it's the way it's interpreted. So
Oh.
that was one of the things that he was talking about, that they're trying to get kind of walk away from that word. Yeah.
Oh, good to know.
I'm surprised it says all persons. I thought it was 18. Like all persons over 18 for reporting, who are mandated reporter. This sounds like anybody. They don't actually specify, which I think is
Tell me
surprising.
where you are. in the form.
For JLF, the reporting for this mandated reporting, all persons. I always thought it said 18 and older.
Under A.
Yes.
Persons, not personnel.
Well, no, this is just a New Hampshire law. Like anybody, you're supposed to, everyone's a mandated reporter, but it doesn't specify you have to be an adult, which I thought was weird. And I always assumed it did.
So I wonder if it's encapsulated under the RSA.
Maybe.
I didn't catch it anyway. There was a lot, so I feel like my brain stopped taking in information.
No, they don't even list the range for an age in the RSA.
I just thought that was surprising.
Yeah, I'm certain there's a reason. Could also be under the 240. So, yeah, I don't see anything there that would indicate why or why not.
So are we good with that policy, or should we move it until next one? Like, are there issues with it?
No, I don't know. And I read it a couple times earlier because I was trying to figure out if intake should be in there or not, so I don't know where it was now.
So the law, the RSA 169C29, Kayla, identifies persons required to report. Very, very specifically.
Okay. So the New Hampshire, that's why I was like, that's the New Hampshire law, and it doesn't state that, and I've always, that's how I remembered it. So, okay, that's pretty good.
So qualifies any person as any physician, surgeon, county medical examiner, psychiatrist, doesn't say student. Or it doesn't include anyone eligible.
Okay.
Any more discussion on any of the policies? Good to vote on them as a group, or do you take them out?
That's if so, you can certainly approve them as a consent agenda, or if somebody wants to pull one off,
That's
you
what
can
I'm
then do
saying.
the balance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Are we good with the whole group? Andrew? With the
Yeah,
whole
I'm
group?
looking at it, sorry.
You can always revisit it again.
Yeah.
Pull it out.
We can approve it tonight, and if you have something, you can always revisit.
Yeah,
it
no.
Next month too.
No,
you know,
I'm good with it. You
And we can
yeah.
re-vote on it, with a change or something.
You can change it anytime you want.
Yeah. All right, so we're good?
Yep.
So I need a motion to accept this,
Group of policies.
and Maria can spell them all out.
I do
Group
see,
of-
I do
group
see
of
a typo,
policies.
Maria. Yeah, number 3 on the, it's just a typo
Oh my God.
on the
I haven't heard
JFL,
anything the last 2
JLF,
months.
number 3,
No,
down,
grammar is.
3rd line from the bottom. There is spelled wrong.
It's good to be precise.
There is spelt wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me,
That
you read
is
that
so
online.
important.
Big deal. Yeah.
I'm leaving. Now that my heartburn feels better, I'm ready to rock and roll.
What's it supposed to be, R?
So with the change to,
EIR,
what was that,
It's not, it's what ERE.
ERE.
JBLF,
JLF?
What one?
Yeah,
which one
three,
is it?
three, it's A, number 3.
Okay. No,
What?
tell me the letters of the policy.
No, what's the
Name of the,
actual policy?
I'm
what's
going
the
back.
actual policy?
Go back,
Headed back.
reporting
JLF.
child, yeah.
JLF.
JLF.
Okay,
JLF.
She's, listen, guys,
Yeah.
Maria's got it over there.
So with the change to JLF,
I see it.
Thank you.
I need a
Good job.
motion
Really.
to approve the group of minutes, policies, thank you, minutes, I'm
As
sorry,
amended.
thank you, as amended. Do I hear a motion?
Yeah,
Yeah, we've
I'll
got
make
one.
that motion.
Second.
I'd like to talk about it more.
Oh, man.
I'll second it.
We need a second.
I said I'll second it.
Now we're in discussion, did you join me?
Yeah, we do come
No.
to first every time.
Okay,
Do you really?
all those in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? So moved. Thank you very much.
Good job.
Thanks.
You're awesome.
All right, we're on to other business. I just have to talk about, the discussion that was had between me and Mark at last night's meeting. Cause I just wanna make sure we're all on the same page and we're clarified to what's going on and what, a rep is to a committee. So this is the policy that speaks to that, and and if you've got concerns, Mark, I wanna really understand what they are.
Should this be done in non-public?
I asked that
It
question.
can't be, it'd be in violation of the non-public laws of 91A, that it, non-public's reserved
Okay, so,
for only non-elected staff.
okay,
Yeah,
So anyone who's a public official, issues such as this must take place in public session.
okay,
If the board wants to discuss it, if the persons on the board want to discuss it privately in a non-quorum setting, that's a completely different thing. That's not a board meeting, doesn't follow any of the laws. So if two people on this board don't want to discuss it now and would rather discuss it later, that can happen. Otherwise, it does have to happen as a body at a board.
I just want us to all be on the same page.
I don't know.
I don't know
I don't know what
what
happened.
I'm lost.
So what
well, I'll tell
last,
you what happened. I mean, I initiated it. So,
that's fine, go ahead.
no, go
If
ahead.
you
If
want.
you-
I was just gonna say that last night's board meeting, Mark didn't feel like I should be speaking on behalf of the school board, with the
Oh,
budget
the
committee,
budget.
about stuff going on at the school and what we were doing to, get more revenue into the school and what changes we might be making and stuff like that. He objected to me speaking on it, didn't think I needed, that without the whole board there, we shouldn't be talking about the school. So I just wanted to clarify that the budget committee's role is to talk about budgets for the town and the school. And their agenda at every meeting is to talk about those budgets. And I am there to represent everybody here and their opinions and what we've decided on to them in order to help them make a decision on our budget. And to bring back any concerns and questions and stuff that they might have. So when we get together, for example, on the 15th as a joint meeting, we might have some of those answers and we're aware of where they're coming from and that kind of thing. So just wanted, I know there was a discussion last month about me being the rep for the budget committee, what my role in that was. So I just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page, that it's my role to bring our information to the budget committee and speak on that. And I'm not making any decisions for the school board. I'm not saying anything that we haven't already discussed or agreed upon. I'm not bringing my own opinions to the matter. I'm only bringing the opinions of the board. So, but I know that Mark had an issue with it and I just wanted to be able to address those issues. If he wants to talk to me separately about it, I'm fine with that.
And if everybody is okay and doesn't have any questions about my representation of the board to the budget committee, I'm fine to do that separately with Mark. I just want to make sure, because of last month's discussion, that we were all on the same page of what what everybody's role is, representing the board in those committees. Just like, you know, Mark and Wayne are represented to the select board. If something comes up at the select board meeting, I expect you guys to talk about it with, about the school. So you can bring information to the select board, you know, about what's going on and what we're doing, and if they have misinformation, correcting it, that kind of thing, you know, I mean, that's our role as committee representatives. So I don't know how everybody else feels about it, but I just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page.
Can I talk?
Yeah.
Please? Okay, this is where I had the problem. It was a budget committee meeting to talk about the school board budget. Am I right or am I wrong? Am I right, Jane? We discussed, you made the comment about Winchester. They asked what our revenue, how did they put it? Do you remember how they put it? Well, they want to know how our revenue, how we were gonna increase our revenue to the thing, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And I brought up Winchester.
You said Winchester is our pot, no, you said we are depending on Winchester.
No.
Yes, that's
No.
that's
Did I say
when,
we're depending on
I
Winchester?
couldn't say no, because I don't remember. Honest to God, I don't.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was a matter of
And-
discussing revenues.
and this is what I'm talking about, April. Wayne stood up and said the same thing that I said. We can't set this budget depending on if we're getting Winchester. We're not getting Winchester until 2026, 27,
Right.
right? We had this discussion. So why are we saying we're depending on that revenue? Well, we don't even know if that revenue is coming or not.
I didn't say we were depending on the revenue. I said that we were hoping to have that
And
revenue
that's-
coming from Winchester. And we've been discussing that for many
Right.
months, or if not years.
But
about
I'm
that being the
entitled to
case.
my opinion.
I'm not saying you're not entitled to
Okay.
your opinion, but you said I shouldn't be talking
No,
to
you should,
the budget
Right.
committee about school stuff without the whole board being there, and that's not the case.
no, the case is you shouldn't be saying that we're depending on revenue when we don't know if we got the revenue.
I just wanna stop for just a sec, right?
Never mind.
So it's a conversation between the two of you. Mark, I just wanna understand. It isn't so much that you disagree with April being the spokesperson.
No, not at all, not at
It's
all.
the content of
The
something that
content
she said.
of what we're
Okay.
talking.
That's a very different idea that I had in my head. That's very
Okay.
helpful, very helpful. Do you have an
Yeah,
observation?
just April was responding to one of their members, very impassioned. Our budget keeps going up year after year. Yes, this is a low amount, but when is the end in sight? What are you guys gonna do about it? And so the long-term plan is, right now, we're focusing on revenue, and Winchester became part of that. But it was more of a, we're focusing on revenue because we're making the cut, so
Right.
we've got to find another way. And that's where the revenue piece came up. Does that make sense?
And I also
But
just wanna
also-
make sure we're
Yeah,
recognizing our
and I wanna
norms,
make
that
sure we're on the same
we're
page too,
listening
Dr.
to
Ryan.
understand, and then we're letting everybody finish their sentences before someone else speaks up, okay? I want to keep this calm and get to the bottom of it, so.
Right, and from what I understand, you and Dr. Ryan had a conversation about this, because you just said to me that you were not under the understanding the way I felt about this. Is that
I asked how last night's budget meeting went,
right? Okay,
and it was part of the conversation that April and I had.
okay.
Yes.
So why wasn't I included in that conversation?
He was
She was-
asking me about how it went last night, so
Right.
I told him.
Exactly.
It was just a conversation.
Okay,
She wanted to
because-
have that conversation.
Because I'm feeling the wave of, you're like, when you came back and said, well, that's not what I got for the opinion.
Correct.
Right,
Right, because I also had a conversation with Jane and asking her how the
right.
budget committee
So
went
why
last
didn't
night.
you have a conversation with me and ask me what happened with me, what happened on?
When I met with April, she had asked, how should we approach this? She asked if it should be a non-public. I explained to her what the role of the chair was.
Okay.
And that it had to take place in public session.
Okay.
That's where we left it.
Okay,
So it sounds like you weren't talking about this year's budget, you're talking about long-term.
They were
plans.
asking about what our plans for long-term, like this, if we do what we're doing now, we're not sustainable for 5
And we've
years.
been having that
Right.
discussion, so.
No, sorry, Ryan. Sorry, no, go ahead.
Well, the one, I agree with you being chairperson, and I agree with, short forms of answers to small talk, but, in my opinion, our budget committee has failed our town. Our budget committee has put zero effort compared to what the rest of us have put into it. And if they want to start firing off questions to just our chairman and the person who is there as to bring some information and bring it back to us, why don't we fire back at them and tell them, why don't you bring those questions to the meetings that we are at, instead of looking at your watch and telling us, oh, we've been here for an hour, let's finish this up. It has been very irresponsible, it has been horribly run, and I'm ready to put my foot down with the budget committee and say, you would have known about Winchester if you'd come to the forum.
One of them.
One.
So in the meetings with the budget committee, they're always talking about the budgets. There are questions that come up during the meeting and whatnot. We try to answer them as we can. If we can't answer them, we tell them we'll get them the answer and bring it back to them. I mean, the back and forth is pretty much how it works with the budget committee, with providing them information, with getting their concerns, with getting their, input that we can, that I could then bring back to you guys, just like with any other. I bring back a report, that tells you guys what we're doing. So while I understand where you're coming from, Wayne, it would be impossible to just, with that, they have to ask questions, and I'm there to help them get the answers. So, that's kind of how it works.
Can I pick one more?
Go ahead.
So it sounds like the problem isn't like really when we're meeting with the budget committee, it's about the budget we're currently working on. So maybe about more long-term plans and bigger ideas. It would be best to have full board discussions, like board to board. But anything to do with the budget, obviously, if they have questions, you can't be like, oh, I can't talk about it. So you have to answer all budget questions, especially for this year. But it sounds like bigger stuff.
Well, they've just given our school board about an hour and a half of their time. That's all they've given us.
Right.
They choose to talk more about it when we're not there than when we are there. And I sense the frustration from that. They don't want to give us the time. Well, then they can come and make another meeting with us. We have a meeting on the 15th.
So maybe in the future, like the.
I can certainly relay that to them
I
also.
would love you to.
know what I mean? And just say that that you guys are eager to meet with them and have real discussions about our budget.
Yeah, like this year's budget, absolutely, like that, we gotta get down to the nitty gritty, but bigger picture stuff. We would be happy as a board to discuss our future plans. And all of our meetings are recorded online, right?
No, I'm done.
Anybody else? Okay. Thank you. So we have committee reports.
Madam Chair, could I request Mr. administrative staff who don't need
Yes.
to be present?
Thank
We'll
you.
need Dr. Remner to remain for non-public.
Sorry, Dr. Burton, you have to stay.
We'll be quick on the.
But
I
these
know
are
there's
the
really
last two
Yes,
now.
go ahead.
I'm within striking distance.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank
Have a
you.
safe trip home.
You're awesome.
Happy New Year, by the way.
Thanks, Nate. You're awesome.
Thank you for my Tom's. Saving the night.
I always keep a stash.
I made a mental note.
I'm gonna leave, oops, sorry, I'm gonna leave those two.
Last month again.
So slow, Karen.
Just
Thank
kidding.
you.
Thank you, Karen. All right, so budget committee, we met last night. And we meet again jointly on the 15th.
Is that here?
Yes,
Okay.
6 o'clock on the 15th. They talked a lot about the town last night, before they got to the school. They're having a meeting with the selectmen jointly on Monday, this coming Monday at 6:30.
So, hold on, so it's the 16th, not the 15th?
We're the 15th.
We're the 15th.
Okay,
Did I say 16?
I thought I heard 16th.
It's 6 p.m.
Okay.
Maybe that's where
When
it
was the meeting
I'm
with
just
the
hearing
Monday? Monday?
They scheduled a joint meeting with the selectmen
On Monday.
on
Okay.
Monday to hopefully TA a lot of the town budget, because they're getting updates from that.
And that's all public, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, selectmen meetings are
And
public,
we're the 15th, right?
and we're the 15th,
15th.
yeah.
Thank you.
The next assessments happen on the 27th, the town was talking about. Because there's a lot of talk about the tax. Tax cap is brought up.
That's a thing?
By Ken, yeah, apparently, I know that there's legislation, I don't know much about it, but I was gonna try to look into it.
That's kind of exciting.
Well, Ken had brought it up. It could be good or bad, depending on what percentage is that
Yeah.
they set it at. And I don't know if it's just for, they can set one for the school or the town, or if it's just one tax cap for all of it, or I don't know much about it. But it was brought up, so it was suggested we look into it.
Oh, was it?
It's in the municipal budget law.
Is it municipal budget? So I was gonna try to find it before this meeting, but I didn't have time. There were concerns about what we'll bring forward for the CBA. Just putting it out there. We don't even know what it is yet, so. So yeah. Basically that. Community connections, we're posting. I gave you guys a printout of a post I'd like to post. I wanted to get your thoughts on it. This here.
Oh, yeah.
This was to bring up some of the questions that were brought up at the forum, to put them out there with the answers. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts about the answers I've written or the questions. If there should be other, can make another post with more questions if there's other questions we should talk about.
This
You did
one,
fine.
will staff needed to be
There it is.
added, I think instead of saying yes, I would say the second question. Because the first year, we said we will not need to add more.
Correct.
It says in there, it says the first
Yeah.
year. we
Right,
may not
it says
need that.
we may or may not need to, but the first year, we're not going, so
I didn't want to
would-
commit ourselves to it, just in case we do have to for some reason.
I'd much rather go back to them and tell them that, no, we did not have to, than say, no, we don't have to, and then be in that situation where we have to, and it already looks like we lied.
Right.
Oh, I feel like, sorry, especially, but
Yeah.
that the obvious one would be, if some more of our students would have the para support.
Mhm.
But
Right.
other than that, it seems.
That
to
was
be
my thought,
pretty
too.
affordable other than that.
Yeah.
Well, and I think
The
that,
para support expense goes against the town of Winchester. and so-
Right, which is answered further down, but in terms of like staff, that first year, they'd probably be doing, I don't know, sorry.
I just didn't want to say no definitively,
I,
in case something changed and we had to. You know what
my
I mean? Like,
only concern is people see we're adding staff and then they're like, see, it's costing us money. So just, I think we need to just word something in a way that, so people are very clear that we're not going to like eat up the tuition costs with adding staff, like, oh yeah, we're gonna get $1 million, but we're gonna spend 2 million. You know, I just want to, Cause I feel like that's the big concern with staffing. Everyone is, that seems to be the vibe I'm getting.
I think this is a paper that we all need to like go over and then write notes on and come back to, because
Okay.
I haven't even really had time to.
Well, we did, yeah, we just.
I just made it late last night, so.
Yeah.
Otherwise I would have emailed it out
And it does
beforehand.
touch on everything that was gone over during the forum, and there was a lot of explanation during the forum that, you know, at a point throughout the process, if it happens, that there will have to be some faculty hired at a point.
And
But
there will, but we wouldn't make it so it's gonna cost our district money.
well, no, and that point was made very clear.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, any of this growth, there is going to be some sort of expense for us to be able to do it. You're just gonna get a trade off your revenue to the percentage of cost.
Right.
I mean, to say no, we're not going to would be a horrible statement, in my opinion. Like, whatever it looks like, whether it takes 1 year or 4 years for us to get there. I
Right.
think that
That
it
was
may or
kind of
may
a thought
not.
process.
Reframing it.
Yeah.
All right, so we can, if you guys wanna just email me
Mhm.
thoughts or changes you wanna make to it and whatnot. And we'll go from there.
That sounds good.
Okay, I would like to try to get it out as soon as possible. too,
Yes, absolutely.
If, you know, we can
Sooner the better for the people who can
make it, right, that was my thought process.
And are we gonna put a link to Dr. Ryan's presentation
Yeah, I
up
can.
with this? I would,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the, like,
Just
this is
because-
a picture, so
Right.
in the actual wording of it, I can put it there.
Oh, yeah, I think that would be good, just.
Yes.
Facilities and maintenance.
Facilities, I got called into work, so they had a meeting without me.
Oh,
I went to it.
Awesome.
oh, great.
Jane did too.
Yeah, Jane led it. We talked about the playground. That was a couple weeks ago. That was
Yes,
before break. That was
Yes.
before break. I
That was
remember
a
where I
long
was
time
sitting.
ago.
I remember where I was sitting. But what are we talking about? We did talk about the playground. The lift just got fixed again or replaced, something in my building.
Oh.
Lift things happened.
So are you talking about the
Great.
chair that we put in last year?
Yeah, but
Oh.
new something's happened just because that.
This is the best report.
I love this report.
So
The something, did the
Spot on.
something.
Things took place.
But good for you for stepping up and trying to help. Yours is better than Wayne's version.
No,
Very
there's
informative.
lift stuff happening, the playground continues to be,
Right.
playground has come up at facilities, at joint loss, at everything.
Yeah.
Nate was talking about his walkthroughs and his lists of things that he needs to do, including door things, you see things, a lot of things.
A lot of things.
I might throw in a few ums.
Yeah.
Justin was here too. Justin came to it, so they talked about their own infrastructure
All right.
connections. That's all I got.
Nice, you did good.
That was great.
It's more than I had. I was
Thank
working
you.
on a truck.
Did the lift things cost us money?
That I don't know.
I guess we excuse Nate.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right, next.
I'll catch up with
Past
Nate
cousin
and I'll
Nat.
get that written down.
Or when Jane comes back.
There wasn't, and I
I
don't
can
think,
revisit it.
Nate talked about the middle high school at all. I think it was all elementary
Elementary
school
school.
stuff. And I mean, other than maybe the IT stuff, but it was pretty much, I mean, our building is in rougher shape than the middle high school.
Okay, well, thank you.
Nothing from House because we didn't meet.
Yep, perfect.
Yeah, I can't scroll on it. The whole
Legislation, I missed the webinar on the Medicaid, changes to Medicaid to school program. I do have it, I'm gonna watch it, but I didn't. So, all right, that's where I'm at, but there's gonna be a lot of legislation coming in through the state about education and all sorts of stuff, so it's gonna be a bombardment. It's like 300 and something.
LSRs.
Yeah.
There's some zany ones out there
Yeah,
too.
really are.
Yeah, there's one to divide the entire state into 5 SAUs.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
What?
Yeah,
By region.
yeah, by region.
So this would be the
regionalized.
Southwest SAU.
Yeah.
You'd have one superintendent in charge of the entire Southwest region.
Why don't they?
South
I mean, you've
Central,
already got 2,
Southeast.
so I think.
Oh, I already
it
told Rob
should.
Malay he could have it.
Why don't they
No.
just learn how to divide the money up?
Right,
and,
yeah.
That would
leave
be
everything else alone?
chaos.
It's about eliminating local control.
Yeah.
And giving state board of ed a little bit more control over the 5 superintendents who would be
Oh,
SAUs.
that would be such.
Yeah, it'd be a nightmare.
Great idea.
So yeah, there's a lot of that. I'll be bringing you updates as it happens.
I tried to say that we did it facilities and it was awesome.
No, you did a great job.
The thingies were
Little things
awesome.
happened. We understood.
There were some lifty thingies that.
A lot of the
they really
elementary
did.
school.
And door things happened.
Good, that's what it was.
Playground things, it was great.
For 4 days at this mama area. I was like, they talked about it, I was like, oh, I was at that meeting.
And then it all went over. Yeah, but you did great.
We did a lot of discussion on the capital improvement plan.
I don't like your version.
I don't like your version.
Yeah, and we discussed the playground, we discussed the rooftop units. We're gonna be working on updating that capital improvement plan, because what we did is we segued right into that, into the strategic planning for the facilities piece, because there's so many pieces of that, excuse me, of that, the finance facilities. So we kind of segued in because the capital improvement plan is part of that strategic planning.
Yeah.
So
That was the big thing, now
yes.
that you say that,
Yep.
is all of our lists of, is IT. Justin was talking about
Yes.
IT
Yep.
infrastructure,
That's
cost
right.
for capital improvement.
Yep.
And I was like, I said, I was under the impression the playground was on it, but it
Yep.
never was on it. And so there was a few listed things where people think it's on the capital
Right.
plan, but
Right.
it's not.
Right.
Okay, 'cause I
Um,
thought the playground was.
So that was, thank you. I
You-
just needed the word capital plan.
You came up with
and I-
infrastructure. I'm like, that's over me.
It's like 20
Good
days
job.
ago.
Well, thank you.
I think I did the minutes, but I can't remember.
You did. Yes. I feel a little
Did I
bit-
do 'em? I did. Maria says I did 'em.
Good job.
You had minutes, you could have just read it.
I didn't want to interrupt you because you were.
Yes,
You were killing it.
You were doing a great job. All right, so personnel committee, there's ongoing negotiations.
Yeah, ongoing,
It's ongoing.
it's ongoing.
Going somewhere.
It's gotta be the longest
yeah.
I've ever heard of.
Policy committee, Kendra?
We have a meeting scheduled for January 29.
Can confirm that's in
We'll have a
my.
new
29. I was
slate
gonna say,
of
can you write that down soon?
policies to awe and inspire us.
The next
And
one.
what time is that
Very
meeting?
big. January 29, it's a Wednesday.
At what time though?
10 a.m.
So I'm putting that in my calendar too?
That's a good idea, Kayla.
You're gonna have to go babysit.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kayla.
I had a feeling. That's why- Can you write that
I'll
down?
accept it.
So we're good.
And next personnel is January 28.
January 28th.
January 28th too?
For, no, that's
No, that's
personnel committee.
Oh.
that's not you.
You don't have to cover that.
Oh, thank you.
Select board representative.
I have asked Mark to step in for me while we go through negotiations because it's just gotten to be too much.
So have you gone? to
So
any
I
select
did go,
board
I
meetings?
did go to the select board meeting.
Great.
Mr. Hodgman, feel free to help me out if you need to. Mr. Bill Hodgman is here. No, there was some tax abatement things, and then also the big topic was the pool.
Mhm.
They're closing the pool, well, the proposal, I should say, let me say, the proposed is to close it to reduce it 1 week, right? Mr. 2 weeks?
Okay, yeah, it was.
There was some,
Summer program.
it was like, yeah, and the summer program. That's what the proposal is. It's not definitely set in stone yet, right? Because they have to, it has
Now,
to.
we already threw that out.
Oh, you already, oh, okay. Well, there we go.
Okay.
And another big topic was Benedict and Sons got to take the mill down.
They have no sons,
Pronounce-
Benedict Enterprises.
Benedict Enterprises. See, I did go though.
Yeah, we-
And yeah, it was, that was the big topic was right, the pool and
Yeah, Parks and Rec budget was a big.
yeah, Rex and Parks budget.
All right.
I
So
mean,
the
any-
pool isn't changing and the camp isn't.
Yeah,
changing?
we made some other adjustments,
Oh,
so we told them to put most of those reductions back in, so.
All right, good job, Bill. Just kidding.
Well done. Strategic Planning Committee. We have our next captain's meeting on 2/10/25
Correct.
at 5:30.
All four groups, I think yours is doing okay.
We met.
Yeah.
We met.
They're doing quite well. We're gonna be ready.
So we'll get an update on that on the.
Oh, yeah, so what time is that?
5:30.
Okay.
2:10. 2:10. Tuition exploratory committee.
We have not met.
Are we going?
We did, we met
We did.
Saturday morning,
When?
and we met just prior to that.
At the forum.
Oh, like what? Okay, yeah, all right, well,
You were the sponsor. Tuition exploratory committee was the sponsor. And so we'll probably schedule a meeting once we know who the other school is. And then talk about what we can do, or what we, in terms of working with Anna, what the school can do to set more track.
And are we going to try and set our tuition
next?
That's correct.
Is that gonna be tuition exploratory or a full board or you?
We'll probably prepare something and bring it to the committee.
Yeah.
That might be the best way to go, and then that can come to the board.
I was gonna say the board would have to.
Right, yeah, that's what I figured.
Well, no, it's a range. It's
Okay.
not
It'd be a
the
range.
tuition. It's just
Right.
what,
I
you
thought we
know,
just needed the
18
max.
to $30,000 or something, you know, we just need to know what is the
Oh, that's easy. I
maximum.
can tell you it's gonna be between an 18 and 30,000.
I like that.
My job's done.
Perfect.
Because we want to make that information available to the folks who live in Winchester.
Right.
So we'll bring that forth.
So the briefing is to the board.
Yes.
All right, wellness.
We have not met. Jane, do we have a meeting?
We have one scheduled. I
That's
want
what
to
I thought, but I
say it's
couldn't-
coming
I
up.
looked at my calendar.
Thank you.
What
What
have
is
you guys
February
been doing? We have spent like the last 2 months together. What are the rest of them doing?
Nothing.
Nothing, apparently.
Quarterly.
Wait, 2:12?
That sounds right.
That's what I heard.
3:30.
So I'm gonna be here from
3:30.
3:30 until whenever we're done with our.
Yes.
meeting. Fun.
We gotta feed you.
Went to the school board, was my first year. That's 3 months.
All right, so we're down to citizens' comments. Donna, Bill, anything? Anybody online? There's nobody online.
They're all gone?
They left.
It was when I started typing.
Mesmerized.
All right, so then I need a motion to go into non-public.
I'll make a motion to go into non-public.
We're going under
A and C.
A and C.
I'll second it.
Oh, I did.
Oh, you did? Okay,
Roll
Kayla
call.
seconded it.
Roll call.
Yes.
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 I'm gonna say
Alright.
no.
Yeah.
I don't understand that every time I can put something in something.
I told you should.
No.
Thank you, Kayla.
Please.
I've got my house almost sold. I don't need a reason to
Almost
have to, yes, the 28th.